Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm, and you are watching second and final part of What If Naruto Became Konoha's Worst Nightmare. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. No wasting no time. Let's start the story.
Naruto felt a calmness that always surrounded him when he was with Jiraiya as he sat in the restaurant and discussed the Chunin exams and his feelings for Hinata. As Jiraiya gave him advice on how to get Hinata to reciprocate his feelings, Naruto believed that it was simply too sexually inappropriate for him and that he was simply too shy to behave in the manner that Jiraiya desired. Kakashi approached them as they were laughing at each other's antics and conversations. He bowed to Naruto and asked if he could sit at the table with them. "Sakura told me that you helped them out considerably in the Forest of Death. Did you by chance see that powerful grass ninja that attacked Sasuke?" As Kakashi examined the genin. "No, I didn't. By the time Hinata arrived to retrieve me, Sasuke was already unconscious and suffering from a fever. According to her, he had been vanquished by a kunoichi who transformed into a man with extraordinary abilities, bit him, and left a strange seal around his neck. I had to ask you just in case, even though I assumed as much. Since everyone is still discussing that brief encounter you had, I can tell you're a very talented genin. Some people already believe that you will be a Chunin this year, Mikado, and I have to agree that it was the best match in years. You must have some genuine talent if Jiraiya took you under his wing, as I can see from the fact that you trained with him. How did you two meet in the first place, and was it an exciting experience to meet the renowned Sanin?" Kakashi was asked. "I didn't know who he was at first. When I met him he was doing his so-called research, and some women came and beat me with sticks because of the misunderstanding he caused by his so-called inspiration for his novel. I left that little village and traveled north when I saw something out of the ordinary, an old man being robbed. So I went to save him from the bandits, and it turns out to be Jiraiya. He watched me fight and didn't bother to give me a hand. Then a bandit attacked me and Pervy Sage saved me, and then he showed me a really cool jutsu and I spent the next 2 months training with him to learn it. I had to leave because I wanted to continue my journey of self-improvement, so I came back to the southern Konoha and asked to be enlisted to take the Chunin exams, and we're all caught up." When Naruto glanced at Kakashi, an edited version of events. Smiled Kakashi. "What about the Hinata part of your little adventure? I was more interested in how you two became interested in each other. All she could do was talk about you, rather the exam she was taking," as she smiled. "She did?" Naruto asked, jumping up with excitement and looking around, all eyes on him because of his display of love for Hinata. "Calm down, Mikado, just hold your horses, and Kakashi, you know better than to mentally mess with a young genin in love. Are you trying to give Sasuke an edge over Mikado?" The two adults joked. Despite his embarrassment, Naruto reflected on his behavior and began to laugh with Jiraiya and Kakashi. He believed that he had never laughed so loudly in his life, but he didn't care who heard him because he was enjoying the company at the table. Naruto left the room before he could finish the sentence, saying, "Anyway, I had to see whom Hinata was so excited about, and she wanted me to give you a message. She wants you to meet her at Training Ground 6. As he watched the teenager run faster than he had ever seen anyone run, Kakashi thought, "Wow, he is smitten like Sakura said. He didn't let me finish my sentence at all. She wanted to meet him at 7 o'clock and it's just a little past noon. Does he even know where the Training Ground 6 is located?" Before he started laughing, Jiraiya rubbed his chin and considered the boy's behavior. "Nope, but by the time he actually does find it, I wonder just how long will he wait for her?" he asked. "Maybe I should just tell Sasuke to tell him that Hinata thinks that he's hot." The boy would probably pass out from those words and Sasuke would win without landing a single blow. Kakashi is now joining in the laughter. Jiraiya and Kakashi realized that young love is what causes young men to act in such a ridiculous way after they had finished laughing so much that their ribs began to hurt. As the discussion became serious, Kakashi informed Jiraiya of Sasuke's fate and the village's current state of high alert. Jiraiya claimed that he was just passing by and had not been searching for Orochimaru. He had seen Mikado and wanted to know if the child had improved further as a result of his training. Jiraiya was serious. Kakashi knew, and he would eventually leave the village once more. "What about Mikado?" Kakashi asked Jiraiya. "Doesn't he want to watch his apprentice vie for the Chunin title?" Jiraiya had assured Kakashi that the child would succeed without any issues and that he was not concerned that he would not become a Chunin. In fact, he expressed his belief that the child was superior to him at that age. Kakashi simply grinned and suggested that Mikado and he should spar occasionally. He would remain in the village to watch that match, Jiraiya assured him. Kakashi promised to let Mikado know that he had nearly 7 hours before Hinata was ready and that it was 7 o'clock when they parted ways. Naruto felt even more foolish when Kakashi came to find him and informed him that it was a nighttime gathering, even though he had arrived at the right moment and was embarrassed that he had left the restaurant in that manner. He was so thrilled to see Hinata approaching that he hurried to brush himself off and straighten his hair so he would look more presentable to her. "Hey Mikado," as she stuttered and blushed at his presence, "I wasn't sure you would find this spot. I was wondering if you would like for me to help you train?" She looked at her new companion. Naruto's heart fell to his stomach. He hoped to at least see her once or at least go somewhere and chat. After observing Naruto's expression of pain, Hinata assumed he would want to spend some time with her. Her expression had changed to one of hurt. "If you don't want to, I understand, but if you want to practice alone." As soon as he saw her expression, Naruto put on a false smile and said, "No, I just wanted to go somewhere and talk and maybe have dinner or see some attractions with you, but training is fine if you like." She glanced at him and said, "You mean like a date?" "No, not like a date. I mean if you're not busy we can talk and eat at a date I guess. I'm not good at this sort of thing Hinata, I wish I were, it would be so easy on my nerves and stomach, but I'm not, so I'm sorry if I seem foolish around you." When Naruto looked at her, she grinned at the young man in front of her and said, "You're doing great. How about we go out now to a restaurant, sit down, talk and eat, sort of like a date?" "Hell yeah," was followed by, "I mean sure," as Naruto turned beet red, realizing that he had made yet another embarrassing error. Hinata also flushed a lot. She had never been this outspoken about her feelings, but recently she had begun to feel flushed around Mikado. She began to recall that it was similar to how she felt around Naruto. Hinata and the enigmatic stranger who had taken the Chunin exams by surprise were the center of attention as they made their way into town. When they arrived at the Ichiraku ramen stand, Naruto was surprised that she would pick this particular location out of all the stands in Konoha. As they entered, Tucci noticed Hinata with a stranger he had never seen before. As they sat down together, Tucci was being nosy and said, "Hyuga-san, I'm so glad you came by, and are you on a date by chance?" She blushed deeply at the tall genin, saying, "Well, this is my friend Mikado, and since he has never been here before, I'm treating him to the best ramen in the village. You can give me the usual, and what would you like, Mikado?" He grinned and turned to Hinata, saying, "I'll have a special order, pork and chicken ramen with hot peppers and heavy soy please." Whoa, that kid could now have some ramen. Naruto Uzumaki was my best customer and he used to order that exact dish. As Tucci turned to begin their orders, "You were the first person to say, I never thought I would have to make that order again in my lifetime. I was over 2 years old when you said that." Hinata gazed intently at Mikado, asking, "What prompted you to order that particular combination? Don't you think it's strange that you ordered that strange combination out of the blue when no one ever orders it?" Since he first developed feelings for Hinata, Naruto was aware that he was making mistakes. "What's so weird about that? I like hot food and mixed meats, but I like my soy added while it cooks." "Did you not hear Naruto give you that order?" She gave Mikado a long, intense look. "Please, let's avoid discussing Naruto tonight. I only want to get to know Hinata Hyuga tonight. It was merely a coincidence." He looked straight at the walls to hide his face from her, saying, "I am really nervous about being with you and I don't want to be compared to Naruto, not tonight anyway." Hinata decided that it was just a coincidence that he ordered that combination and dropped it. As the two teenagers began to converse, Hinata told him about her life, and Naruto eagerly listened to everything she had to say. He was shocked to learn that she had been looking for him the entire time he was gone, and that she had told him about the adventure in the Land of Waves where they met Zabuza and Haku. Naruto told her that he had always been by himself and that he had only become a ninja to be strong so that he could stand alone. He told her that his first sensei only saw him as a weapon, and that Jiraiya saw him as a human being of flesh and blood. Despite knowing Jiraiya for a short time, he was glad he had entered his life, even if he was a pervert. After an hour or so of conversation, her father and Ko happened to walk by and saw her chatting with a young man. "My daughter is speaking to Ko, but who is she?" When Heishi noticed them seated at the stand across the street, he came to a complete stop. As Hinata was glowing beside the young man, Ko grinned and said, "That's Mikado Tae Shin. He's the ninja everyone is talking about, Heishi Sama. They seem to be very good friends the way they're talking to each other. He is the one who confronted Neji directly for harming my daughter. He doesn't appear very tough to me, but appearances can be very misleading. When I was his age, I used to have the same expression on my face as he does now." Heishi watched his daughter smile while she met the boy's eyes. "Heishi Sama, what look is that?" a very perplexed Ko asked. As he bowed and walked away, Heishi glanced at Hinata's former bodyguard and said, "Never mind, I will see you back at the compound soon. I want to talk to my daughter and her newly acquired friend." As he continued to gaze at the young couple, Heishi thought, I thought that Kakashi and Sakura were just over exaggerating, but it looks like it is true. Before Heishi announced his presence to them, he stood behind them for a considerable amount of time as he approached. Hello, Hinata. Which friend are you seated with? Heishi pretended not to recognize the boy. She grinned at her father and said, this is Mikado Tae Shin. He made it to the finals today, and we were discussing everything under the sun. Heishi gave the teenager a glare that made him a little uneasy. Oh yes, you're the one everyone in the village can't stop talking about. They say your skills are great and that you defeated a sound ninja with a single move, very impressive indeed. So what style do you use if you don't mind me asking? He asked. I use a variety of taijutsu styles to confuse my opponents. I borrow from here and there to make my own suitable style so that it can make me strong and unpredictable. If one style doesn't work, I can quickly go to the next to throw off my enemy. Naruto glanced at her dad and trembled. He gave her a disgusted look and said, interesting, it must work very well for you because you're in the finals and my daughter is not. I'm very proud of Hinata. She did excellent in the Forest of Death. She saved my life from Sasuke. She showed me true strength when she stood up to Neji. Courage is something that must runs in your family, Heishi. Sama, because Hinata has it by the tons, Naruto said with a grin to demonstrate how she was truly powerful. The fact that he defended her and told her father that he was proud of her when her father was obviously not was unbelievable to Hinata. You were very interesting young man to stand your ground for my daughter like that, or is because you're in love with her? Heishi glanced down at Naruto. When her father said that aloud, both teenagers flushed and appeared as if they were about to faint. The blood eventually left Naruto's face because he was paler than Hinata. You can't believe rumors, Hyuga. Sama, people are always going to say something about things they know nothing about, so they will just guess what is happening between me and your daughter. Who said I heard some rumors? I know when young people are in love, and trust me, Mikado, you are in love with my daughter bad. You don't see any flaws when you look at her. You also have look that says she is the only woman in the world you want to give your heart completely to. Neither one of you didn't notice I was behind you for 2 minutes until I made myself known, and you're both ninjas, which should never happen. So cut the act and say you like each other. Time on this planet is so very precious, so be happy that you two found each other in a world filled with billions of people. As he called for the cook, he paid for the couple's meal and headed out smiling from ear to ear. Naruto felt as though he would pass out from fear and embarrassment at the sight of Hinata. Hinata was lying on the floor, and Ayame was attempting to revive her from the bomb of a statement her father had dropped on them, when he turned around to tell her that perhaps her father had been a bit too honest. As Ayame attempted to revive a faint Hinata, she asked, are you sure you want to date her? You know, if you get married he will be your father-in-law. Naruto made the decision to walk Hinata home after they spent an additional hour at the ramen stand. Following her father's remark, they both remained silent and were terrified to look at one another. Naruto always believed that he would perish in combat rather than as a result of being humiliated by a person's father. Hinata was still red when they got to the compound, so she was unable to meet Naruto's eyes. The long silence between them was finally broken when she asked, so will you still let me train with you, Mikado? Naruto regained the courage to look at her and said, of course I would love to train with you, if you think your father will be okay with it? As they stood there for minutes waiting for someone to initiate contact, Hinata simply nodded and smiled. Hinata retreated, Naruto advanced, and vice versa. Hinata suddenly seized Naruto and gave him a kiss so intense that when he returned the kiss, Naruto flushed and felt dizzy. After ending the kiss, Hinata fled into the house and passed out safely behind the door. Naruto was standing at the gate compound when he suddenly passed out and fell to the ground, grinning as broadly as he had ever smiled. Heishi simply gazed at Naruto lying on the ground while grinning and watching the entire exchange between the two through the window. He laughed to himself as he gazed at the still unconscious ninja lying on the ground, saying, Kid is one powerful ninja everyone talks about, and he flattened by a single kiss from my daughter. Kakashi and Sakura were right, he has it bad for her and doesn't even know it. 3 days had passed since Naruto's kiss with Hinata, and as a result, neither of them knew how to behave. Even though she assisted him with his training, she was still too apprehensive to discuss their relationship from that evening. She really wanted to feel his lips on hers again after their first kiss, but she wasn't sure if she should ask him to kiss her again or wait for him to do so. Because Naruto seemed to act as though nothing had happened or that it wasn't noteworthy to him, she began to feel self-conscious. Kree came up to Naruto as they were wrapping up their training and informed him that they had a team meeting at the hotel. Hinata tried to ignore the icy stare that Kree was giving her as she was leaving Naruto, but it was too strong for her to keep quiet. Hinata waited for Naruto to leave so they could have a private conversation. Is there a problem, Kree-san? Yes, you're spending a whole lot of time with Mikado, Naruto. And I'm starting to wonder if you're going back and giving your cousin the inside scoop on how to defeat Mikado. I mean, you're a Hyuga and Mikado isn't special to you, he's just some boy you met. You can use him to get in good with the rest of your clan by divulging critical information on my comrade's weakness. I did my homework on you, disgrace heiress failure of the Hyugas. Kree wasn't going to mince her words and treated Hinata with extreme cruelty. She looked at Kree and defended herself, saying, I would never do something as malicious like that, and Mikado is special to me. Oh really? What makes him so special to you? Because you bat those big pearly eyes at him and smile? And you know he's willing to go all out for you just to see you happy? Or is it that you just want someone strong so your family won't think that you're a weak failure? Do you just want to screw him so that he'll be by your side to make you look strong so everyone will stop looking down on you? That's what called using someone, and you're doing it to Mikado. For the first time in her life, Hinata stood firm and confronted Kree about her feelings for Naruto. If you think that, why don't you go and tell him, she said. Because Mikado can't get past those eyes of yours without thinking anything below his waist. But I'll tell you this, Hyuga girl. If you share his secrets with anyone, I'm going to pay you a little visit in the middle of the night and make you feel sorry that you were ever born. Kree turned to leave. Perhaps that was the reason Kree was so protective of Mikado, Naruto, as Hinata looked shocked and asked, did they have a relationship before the two of us? Hinata was feeling depressed and out of her happy zone because of a pain in her chest. For some reason, she wanted Mikado, Naruto to refer to her as his true love and no one else. Despite telling Mikado about Naruto, she only had a deep crush on him and no romantic history. As Hinata made her way into the village, everything seemed to fall apart. She discovered a small eatery that many ninjas frequent as she made her way back into the downtown village to kill time. She was patiently waiting for a table when she heard two genin discussing Mikado. Her curiosity overcame her, and she overheard the conversation. I heard that Mikado is one hell of a ninja. They say his ninjutsu is extraordinaire among anyone in our age group. I tried to talk to him yesterday and his teammate shooed me off. I think they have a thing going on. As the tall genin recounted what had occurred. Yeah, I tried to flirt with him and he walked away from me, ignoring me completely. But I seen him hanging around that dethroned Hyuga heiress. Maybe he's trying to get more popularity by hanging with a Hyuga, said the other genin with a brown ponytail. The tubby girl genin began to laugh at her statement, saying, how would that help him? She's way below average as a genin can get. Sure, she has books smart when we were in class, but she isn't girlfriend material. Maybe someone like that Tenten or Sakura would be a better match for him. Hinata followed her hostess away from the girls, who were unaware of her presence, as she was led to her table. Hinata began to think about a lot of things as she sat at the table. Maybe they're right, maybe that's why Mikado hasn't tried to kiss me again. No, that can't be it. He said all those things to me and they came from his heart. He can't fake something like that. Maybe he's still interested in Kree. No, that can't be it either. I don't know if I'm coming or going when I think about Mikado and our so-called relationship. I've become very narrow-minded when it comes to him. He's always in my thoughts, and when he's away it feels like I'd said goodbye to my best friend forever. I never been this confused in my life, but at the same time I'm really happy when I'm with him. As she sat there trying to figure out what to do, some of her peers approached her. Ino waved her hands in front of her face and said, Earth to Hinata, come in Hinata. All-seeing eyes, my ass. We've been here for a good minute and she just looked up at us, Ino said, turning to face Sakura and Tenten. Tenten sat down beside Hinata and put her arm around her, saying, hey, I know that look. It's when girls have a certain boy on her mind and she can't concentrate. Spill it, Hinata, tell us who it is. Are you kidding? It's that Mikado that got her feeling the fire below her waist. Heck, he's definitely hot with all that long black hair coming down to the middle of his back. Every girl in the village has been trying to holler at him since he broke a long-standing record held by the fourth Hokage himself. Hell, I even heard the Sanada clan matriarch approached him about marrying one of her 6 daughters. As Ino continued to speak, Sakura pushed her to the side in order to get her to stop. Hearing what Ino had to say made Hinata wince, as if she had been reminded once more that she was unworthy. Hinata, you know for a fact that Mikado wants you by his side. He risked everything in the forest of death to keep you safe. I'm pretty sure that things hadn't changed that quickly on how he feels for you. As Sakura consoled her teammate, Hinata whispered, we kissed. Maybe the kiss wasn't what he expected it to be. I never kissed a boy before, and maybe it was bad and he didn't want to be with a woman who can't kiss, or he wants a stronger woman in his life. Plus I keep hearing all these girls say how much they like him, and some said they even flirted with him. He didn't even tell me about that. Hinata lowered her head, suggesting that the young heiress was facing more issues. Even though she was insecure, she knew deep down that Mikado wasn't the kind of man who played with people's emotions. However, for some reason, when you have strong feelings for someone, your emotions double. You kissed him? My, you're not that shy as we thought you were. Anyways, those are rumors, just talk to him. Maybe he's feeling the same as you. This is something new for the both of you. It's only natural that both of you feel insecure about what to do. Hinata. I hate to say this, but he was ready to tear Neji a new butthole for harming you. I say those are strong feelings, or you can call it love. He openly challenged him and jumped down to be by your side. Tenten glanced at Hinata in the hopes that her words slight sadness. As Ino gestured to the window, they noticed Naruto strolling with his head lowered. Well, speak of the devil, look who's outside the restaurant. Atayuya bumped into Naruto outside the restaurant. At first, Naruto didn't recognize her because she was wearing a black wig. Tayuya kept her hand on Naruto's chest and gave it a gentle, sensual rub with one finger. Hey Naruto, I heard some strange rumors going no about you. They say you have a failure of a Hyuga as your girlfriend. Please say it ain't so? She asked. Naruto smiled at Tayuya while maintaining his composure and whispering, what the hell are you doing using my real name in public, fool? Why the hell are you here? When Naruto turned to see what Tayuya was doing, she was standing next to Kin, a sound ninja, who was looking at her bewildered. In order to see Naruto's features, Tayuya took her hand and pulled back a portion of his black hair. You're deviating from your mission. I'm here to make sure you stay on course and not to get some big breast girl into your bed. Naruto took her hand away and gave her a snarling grin. You report to me, and don't forget that, one day Tayuya, you're going to meet the end of my kunai. You pissed me off too many times for me to turn a blind eye toward you. Be prepared for that day, it's coming sooner than you think. When Kin looked at Naruto, she had never in her life felt such hatred radiating from someone so young. The young genin was truly alarmed. When Tayuya noticed Hinata staring out the window, he turned to smile at her. She rubbed her cheek with Naruto's and swiftly wrapped her arms around his neck. She swiftly took her other arm and rubbed his lower back, saying, I see you want a sweet tasty virgin. I may not be one, but I'm very experienced enough to make you scream out my name to the heavens 1,000 times over. The only person who could really irritate Naruto was Tayuya. I know you're a stamina freak, maybe you need 2 women to satisfy that endurance and lust of yours. How about it, Kin, feel like some 3-way sex activity with Naruto-kun here? Normally, Naruto would be embarrassed by this kind of circumstance, but his rage overcame his sex-related shyness. Take your flat chest friend and get away from me now before I... A quiet voice said, I apologize, am I disturbing you? Naruto turned to see that it was one of those fangirls who wouldn't leave him alone. He grinned and went to speak with her to get Tayuya and Kin to stop bothering him. Despite his scowl of dissatisfaction at being bothered by the young girl, Naruto put on a false smile for Tamika because she was a good distraction. Knowing that she had completely enraged him, Tayuya grinned as she walked away. Hey Kin, how about you do me a favor and kill Naruto for me? He's becoming quite the little asshole. Do you think you can kill him? As she produced some senbon needles to demonstrate to Tayuya that she was perfectly suited for the position, Kin grinned and shook her head in agreement. As Ino continued to speak, Sakura put another placed elbow to her ribs to silence her completely. Wow, she's really pretty. Wait, that's Tamika from our class. Boy, Mikado really is a popular fellow, isn't he? She was the prettiest in the entire school. Everyone thought she would get Sasuke's attention, and then that other girl just stopped Mikado and damn near said in a flirtatious body language that you can have my body for your pleasure anytime you want. Fear gripped Hinata as she observed the 2 women engaging in overt flirtation with the man with whom she had her first kiss. Naruto entered the restaurant as the girl was leaving and noticed all 4 of the girls seated at the table. Even though Naruto detested Hinata's company, he still stopped by and asked if he could spend a moment with them. All of Hinata's friends were staring at him as he sat down, and he gave her such a huge smile that it caused her to flush red. As blunt as ever, Ino said, So Mikado, it seems that you're the eye candy for some of these kunoichis around here. Naruto looked at Hinata and her friends and said, I don't think so, I'm happy as is. At first, he wasn't sure what she meant when she asked, eye candy. A beat skipped in Hinata's heart. She needed to be sure, but perhaps he did feel the same way. As Ino continued asking questions that left Hinata wondering how he would respond, he said, So Tamika, the girl you were talking to, she looked happy to see you, Mikado, and who was that other girl's before Tamika arrived? I recognized that Kin girl from the exam. Oh, she wanted me to stop by her house to help her train, but I told her that I have a prior engagement with my Hyuga partner who is trying to keep me in shape. The other girl from earlier was just some stupid fangirl who knew that sound ninja who was just being annoying. I hope to never see them again. as Naruto drank his water. He had no intention of leaving her to be with Tamika or that other girl, so Hinata exhaled with relief. Tenten grinned at him and said, "Good answer, very good answer." Then Hinata said, "Well, it's time for us to go, but you and Hinata enjoy your lunch together." The three of them stood up and left the two lovers alone. Hinata, who wasn't used to the attention she was getting from being with Naruto, noticed that many girls were focusing their attention on him as she looked around. "Mikado, would it bother you if we went somewhere else, out of sight?" "Yes, but it's really unsettling that I can't seem to be left alone wherever we go." He smiled as he glanced at Hinata and said, "I don't like the attention either." "I agree. Let's just grab takeout and head out. In fact, I know the ideal location away from prying eyes." Hinata lost all memory and returned to her cheerful self. Naruto took some cash out of his pockets and gave it to Hinata, saying, "Okay, let me use the restroom and you can order the food." Hinata went to the counter and ordered the food as he left to use the restroom, and while she waited for Naruto, the girls she had seen earlier when she was eavesdropping approached her. Similar to a Hyuga, a decent guy at last, and you want to show off your wealth while ignoring the village's real kunoichi. We don't understand how you were nominated for the Chunin exams while we weren't. Did you forget that she's the failure heiress? The heavy dot set kunoichi added. Plus, the Hyuga name means the rules don't apply to her. My father told me that she was a disgrace because she was too weak to even take down the lower echelons of her family clan. Suddenly, though, she's hanging out with someone more powerful than Sasuke. Since she has nothing to offer, I suppose her family wants to pass on some good genes, so they need someone like Mikado to further fortify their clan. Just as Hinata opened her mouth to speak, Naruto left the restroom. As she left with her friends, the tall girl said, "See ya later Hinata, enjoy your boy toy for now." "Are you friends?" Naruto watched the girls go. "No, just conversing. Are you prepared to go?" Hinata snatched their meal from the counter. The two left their troubles behind and went deep into the forest, far beyond the busy village, to Hinata's secret place, which only she knew about. Neither of them spoke as they sat down to eat. As Hinata made the decision to end the silence, her thoughts were racing. "How much do you like me, Mikado?" When Naruto heard her words, he nearly choked on his food. I like you all the time. I feel something special, for you." Naruto's voice was breaking, he was perspiring, and he felt like he was going to throw up from anxiety. "Alright, so tell me why you like me." "Hinata, that's a question that requires more than a few words to answer. You are you, which is why I like you. Straightforward and uncomplicated. You are the reason I like you. Every time I see you, you make my heart race. This feeling is unique to you. Anxiety that transforms into a thrilling sensation when my name is called. The desire to see you. I've been feeling that way ever since we shared a kiss. Even though we didn't know each other for very long, I feel a personal connection to you that terrifies me to no end. I think about that kiss every night before I go to sleep. My heart sank when those girls talked about you and how lovely you look. I want this feeling, but I don't get it. I wanted you all to myself, and I didn't want them to be talking about you in that way. Isn't that incredibly self-centered of me?" Hinata paused, gazing into his deep black eyes. "No, it's not. In fact, my feelings are probably stronger. Do you want to know how I felt for that reason? I felt that my feelings for you were clear." Naruto turned to face Hinata while he awaited her response. "Because I'm considered a failure in my clan. No matter how hard I try to get my father or clan to recognize me, they don't see me for who I am." Naruto remembering feeling that exact same way and saying those precise words in his head when he lived in the village, he wanted to be recognized by the villagers as a person, not a disease or demon. He realized that he had more in common with Hinata than he had with anyone else in the whole village, maybe the world. As he reached over toward Hinata and placed a heated kiss on her lips, she eagerly returned the kiss with even more passion than the night they first kissed. As they began to explore each other's body, their body was intertwined with a position that made their bodies become hot from grinding and kissing. Naruto started to lick Hinata's neck with his tongue up and down as she moaned from this new sexual foreplay she was receiving from Naruto. He quickly came to Hinata's face and placed his tongue in her mouth. At first she was shocked, but she enjoyed this sensation that made her wrap her legs around Naruto's waist instinctively. She quickly sat up and began to suck on Naruto's neck as she ran her fingers through his hair. Naruto was feeling so many emotions and unchecked hormones running through him. He unbuttoned Hinata's jacket and put his hand up Hinata's shirt and rubbed her breast. He began to kiss Hinata's stomach and was about to suck on her breast. "Yes, please, kiss me there and suck on my breast again. But wait, I can't. But my goodness, it feels so good." No, I must stop. As she was ecstatic from the young man's touch, Hinata thought. Enough, Mikado. We can't do this, I'm sorry. As she was adjusting her clothes, Hinata hurled Naruto away from her, leaving him horny and confused. Naruto wanted to follow, but he wasn't sure what to say to her if he caught her, so he said, Hinata, wait, I didn't mean for it to go that far, I got caught up in the heat of the moment. Before he even considered seeing her again, Naruto made the decision to try and let things cool down, way down. He noticed some women in bathing suits playing in the water as he strolled along the lake's edge. He heard some perverted giggles coming from the bushes as the young women waved at him. He noticed a telescope protruding from the bushes and staring straight at the girls as he went to look into the source. Naruto was angry, but not at Jiraiya. He needed to vent to someone. You old pervert. You can't take a day off without peeking at young girls, can you? I can't believe you're one of the legendary Sennin of Konoha. Aren't you afraid that people will label you as a depraved sex girl chasing addict? Naruto said. The girls heard Naruto yelling at the bushes, saw the tall, white-haired man hiding there, and hurried to retrieve their clothes so they could escape their snooping Tom. Jiraiya ran from the bushes to stop them from leaving. Oh well, I got enough inspiration for the day, this will go good in my next chapter. He wrote down some words on his tablet. Wait, ladies, come back. I'm the totally awesome Toad Mountain Sage of Mount Myoboku and writer of the Ika Ika Paradise series. Don't you know it's an honor for you to inspire me with your beauty to put in my new book? Jiraiya looked up at Naruto and saw that he was looking sad and perplexed. Jiraiya patted the young man on the back and said, What's wrong, Mikado? You should be happy now that you have an heiress craving your full attention. Don't tell me there is trouble in paradise already? For his trouble? He considered telling Jiraiya about his issues with the young Hyuga as he gazed at him. Naruto trusted the elderly pervert in front of him more than anyone else. Naruto looked down at his feet, thinking that his perversion had cost him the woman of his dreams. Do you really know things about women, or do you just make this stuff up as you go along? Anyways, I think I went too far with Hinata. We were kissing and things got so heated between us that I think I scared her off me completely. Jiraiya gave the dark-haired boy in front of him a perverted smile and raised an eyebrow, asking, How far did it go? We were kissing and I lifted up her shirt and kissed on one of her breasts like you said in that book of yours. Jiraiya was intrigued by the situation and had to sit down to learn more. Did she smack your face? He asked. No, it was quite a while before she stopped me. Then she ran off saying, No, that she's not ready yet. Of course she's not ready yet, you little Casanova. She's still a virgin and she's afraid to lose what's precious to her by giving into lust. She's afraid that you may not like her or it's all about sex with you. Then I heard she's really shy, she's probably afraid of you to see her naked. Women are very self-conscious about their bodies, although we see perfection in them no matter how tall, small, thin or fat, we love to look at their bodies. They have insecurities about feeling that vulnerable in the eyes of the man they care for. It takes time for a woman to fully trust a man with their body. You must make an effort also, show her your true feelings and be there for her. After that she won't be so shy and your relationship can blossom and you two can understand each other much better. Jiraiya smiled at the child close to him. Naruto saw a totally different, non-perverted side of Jiraiya when he looked at him. So I should apologize and tell her how I feel about her and that I'm great with us taking it slow? He asked. Right, you care for her so it should be easy. Plus both of you are too young for that type of relationship right now. Wait until you're both older where your maturity can make you both feel more comfortable and secure with each other's bodies and feelings. Now get to moving and show her that you love her without a shadow of a doubt. Now hurry and get the girl of your dreams before she realized the Uchiha brat might be a better catch, as he smiled at Naruto. Naruto smiled back at his sensei, blushing. Naruto got up, bobbed his head, and made his way to the Hyuga complex. So this is what it's like to have a father. Thanks, Jiraiya. Sensei, I was really confused and I had no one to turn to. Thanks for listening to me. I really needed someone to talk to. That's the first time he hadn't called me a pervert or a freak, and he was so sincere about it and he was respectful too. Kid, if I had a grandson I would want him to be just like you. While I'm at it I can start a new book called The Heiress and the Casanova Ninja. I'm so glad that I took the pictures of the two of them making out at the secluded area. This will give me plenty of inspiration to start new characters for my new book about the two of them. Jiraiya smiled as he had a photo of Naruto kissing the young heiress breast through her bra. I wonder how much he will pay me not to show Heishi these incriminating pictures of the two of them fornicating in the woods. He laughed, unable to contain his laughter and a devilish smile. The two guards at the gate stopped Naruto as he arrived at the Hyuga compound. While Naruto waited to be taken to Hinata Hyuga's home, Mikado Tae Shin asked to see her. The Hyuga guard said coldly, "Hinata. Sama asked not to be disturbed by anyone today, come back tomorrow to see her." Naruto met the Hyuga guard's eyes and said, "Just tell her it's me and I'm pretty sure she'll let me pass." To put it another way, Mikado. Sama, she didn't want to be bothered by you. We had very clear instructions. If you showed up, we were to deny you entry until tomorrow. What? Did she explain why? Is she upset with me for having feelings for her? When Naruto noticed that the guards had arched an eyebrow at a portion of his previous statement, he caught himself. So don't tell me that this is already your first altercation? Heishi approached Naruto from behind to find out what all the commotion was about. Heishi placed a hand on Naruto's back, nodded to the guards, and personally escorted Naruto to Hinata on the property. As Naruto attempted to explain to her father, she said, "No, it's not like that. I'm still new to this stuff and I really don't want her to be mad about something stupid I may have done or said. If it's okay with you, may I ask what?" His daughter's relationship with the dark-haired boy who somehow won her heart captivated Heishi. It involves a lot of things, from girls I don't like vying for my attention to her not really getting how I feel about her. I believe it's my fault because I find it difficult to put my emotions into words. For some reason, even though I know what I want to say, it sounds cheesy or foolish, as if I'm a complete moron who knows all the wrong words to use. Heishi was well aware of young men's emotions and their desire to maintain their masculine strength while feeling extremely insecure about the feelings of the other sex. The best policy is to be honest. Here's a little secret. Heishi grinned at the young man who showed interest in his oldest daughter, saying, "Eventually, your feelings will reach her, and she will also express what's in her heart." Naruto gave the elder Hyuga a smile. "So tell me, Mikado, what qualities do you think my daughter possesses? She is regarded as the weakest member of the Hyuga clan and is not a skilled ninja." "She's not weak," yelled Naruto so loudly that Heishi was startled. "I have witnessed her put her own safety in danger to defend her teammates against a foe who didn't mind killing anyone who stood in his way. She has unfathomable loyalty, and she is always searching for an old friend who left this village and wanted to become a Chunin to help find him. She's totally amazing to go the distance for a friend like that. While everyone is staring down at her, she is steadily looking up with pride in her heart and a soul. If everyone were like Hinata, there would be no need for ninjas or wars, just gentle understanding from the heart expressed through acts of love. Hinata is the strongest person I have ever met in my life, and if anyone ever tries to hurt her, they'll deal with me personally. I don't care who it is. No one, and I mean no one, will ever make Hinata cry when I'm by her side." Even though he wasn't entirely aware of it yet, Heishi could tell that the boy in front of him was in love, even though he wasn't sure if the threat was directed at him specifically. All the others could see it clearly. For the first time in a long time, Heishi smiled sincerely for his daughter's future, despite his usual belief that Hinata was weak. He went to the bottom of the stairs as they entered the house. "Hinata, please come downstairs." Heishi reasoned that it would be preferable if she was unaware that Naruto was there to greet her. When Hinata saw her father standing beside Naruto, her eyes almost burst out of her head. "Yes, father, what is it?" she asked. An extremely perplexed Hinata asked, "Mikado, what are you doing here?" As Heishi ascended the stairs, he paused at the top where he would not be seen and used his Byakugan to help him drop on the two lovers. "He came to see you, of course. I'll leave you two alone. I'm pretty sure you have much to discuss." Naruto chose to be honest and speak from the heart, as the two older gentlemen had instructed him to do. "Hinata, I just want to apologize for my behavior. It's just that I never met any woman like you in my life. I want to go at the pace you're comfortable at. You are well worth the wait. I thought my destiny was to always be alone and to walk a dark path filled with violence and hate, but when Hinata Hyuga is by my side I walk in the path of your light, making me feel I can truly change my destiny for the better. You once told me that you wanted to change the way of the Hyuga tradition. I believe that you can. No, I know you can, because unlike everyone else you believe in the goodness in the person's heart and soul. I don't know if we will be together forever or just for a few days, but I wouldn't trade my days with you for all the money in the world. For the first time in my life I feel happiness, and it's because of you." Hinata did something Naruto would never have expected her to do because she was at a loss for words. She put her arms around him and kissed him passionately. Ah, wasn't that sweet scene, Heishi? Sama? The two are truly in love. This will break her heart when she finds out that a couple of suitors asked for her hand in marriage. Don't get me wrong, this boy is good, but he isn't the proper gentleman material for our heiress. He needs to come from a prestigious clan or family. He's just like the rest of the dogs who aren't from noble families. Underprivileged ninja scum trying to make themselves royalty through our prestigious clan name," said the brown-haired Hyuga known as Sasha. Heishi turned away from Naruto and Hinata to speak to his associate. "No, he's not like that at all. He's being trained by Jiraiya Sama himself, and you heard of his abilities. The villagers and Junin of the village are in complete awe of this boy's incredible abilities. He's what this clan needs to ensure our future of one of Konoha's greatest clans in the Fire Country. I wonder if he's a pervert like his master? That depraved sex fiend Jiraiya caught me in the nude at the bathhouse a couple of days ago. Who knows what he's teaching that apprentice of his? Anyways, we have one in particular that's a good choice for her. His bloodline will guarantee strong children with our Kekai Genkei. He's already a Junin and the most feared in our clan at the age of just 20. His rage at Sasha Hyuga unnerved the haughty woman. "Don't say his name in my presence. He's a foul, loathsome human being of a man. Hinata deserves much better than him," Heloi said. "Very well, but if you like you can submit this Mikado Tae Shin's name as a possible suitor. It will be very interesting to see how he's stacked against a top-notch Hyuga. I hope you have some info on the boy before you submit him to a world of pain." As Sasha made her way back up the stairs and into her private room, Heishi watched. Since Heishi was certain that Jiraiya would know something about Naruto, he made the decision to ask the renowned Sennin himself for a recommendation regarding Mikado as a potential suitor for his daughter. After an hour of searching, he was unable to come up with any locations that Jiraiya might go to when he visits the village. Then he thought of the women's bathhouse. When Heishi arrived at the bathhouse, he searched for the elderly pervert in order to learn more about Mikado Tae Shin. He was about to walk away since he couldn't find him, but then he recalled how skilled Jiraiya was at surveillance, so he swiftly turned on his Byakugan and looked around. He approached Jiraiya and coughed lightly to get his attention as he noticed an elderly man with white hair looking into the bathhouse. When Jiraiya saw Anko and Kurenai naked, she laughed and said, "Later Heishi, I'm getting my motivation for my new book." "I'm sorry Jiraiya Sama, but this is of the utmost urgency that I speak with you. It's about Mikado the student that you recently taken on. I will leave you to your voyeurism of the young maidens as soon as you can answer a couple of questions for me. Then you will be undisturbed and you can take pleasure in the exquisiteness of Konoha's most pleasurable and desirable fruits of the village." Heishi gazed into the eyes of the legendary warrior. Jiraiya raised his eyebrows and glanced up at Heishi. His heinous act of spying on him had never sounded so dignified and dignified. Coming from Heishi, it seemed that he was required to spy on women or that failing to do so would be illegal. "Sure, what do you wish to know about the kid?" Jiraiya asked, his tongue almost out of his mouth as he kept staring at Kurenai in the bathtub. Heishi waited for Jiraiya to respond before asking, "Is this boy truly worthy of my daughter?" As Jiraiya stood up to wash the soap off her body, she turned to face Anko. "Yes, very much so. The kid only thinks about her and training, and lately he combined the two." "Oh, you really are a sexy woman with a rack like that," Jiraiya said. "Humph." As Heishi cleared his throat to keep Jiraiya's attention. "How good are his skills? Be very honest." "Believe it or not, I would say that he's comparable to a Junin level already. Maybe a little less than Kakashi, but what makes this kid formidable is his ability to never give up on anything. When he sets his mind to it, there is no chance he'll change his mind. He's a little simple-minded that way, but he's straightforward on his beliefs. Oh man, I wish I could be between those two women. If I had a genie, that would be my first wish and second wish and third wish." Jiraiya was growing increasingly unfocused on the issues at hand while staring at the two women. Heishi needed to be certain. Does he love my daughter, or does he just want to have money or the power of the Hyuga name behind him? Although it was evident to him that the boy loved his daughter, many others were interested in obtaining the Hyuga heiress hand for their own reasons. Even though he liked the boy, he might still use dishonesty to obtain what he wanted from his clan. Jiraiya stopped snooping after hearing this remark and got to his feet, staring angrily into Hiyoshi's eyes. "That boy defeated a Jinchuriki known as Gaara to keep your daughter safe. You heard the rumors of the Sand Shinobi who contains the one tail. He murders indiscriminately whoever gets in his way. His own father placed a bounty on his head, and we all know that no one was able to collect the money. Mikado defeated this same Jinchuriki with skills way beyond a genin and saved Team 7 from certain death. His goal was to save Hinata from being killed. This is the story I heard from Sakura and Hinata." Mikado's version of the story was on how strong Hinata was. She risked her own safety to save her team. His words was that he wished he had her courage and loyalty. He knew that Hinata had a crush on Naruto Uzumaki before he disappeared. As much as it hurt him, he stayed by your daughter's side because he actually cares for her. Now that they have mutual feelings for each other, he doesn't mind that she searched for him because he has that much love and trust for her. The only thing he wants from the Hyuga clan is your daughter's love and eventually her hand in marriage. This kid would give anything to be with her. Jiraiya stood nose to nose with Heishi to let him know to never look down on Mikado ever again, especially when it concerned his student's honor and intentions. Heishi simply grinned. His daughter was loved no matter what. His smile soon turned into a frown of fear and miscommunication when he noticed Kurenai and Anko standing right behind Jiraiya. Kurenai and Anko took out their weapons and got ready to beat them until they forgot it. I would expect this type of behavior from Jiraiya. Sama, but you Heishi? If you were going to peek at us, you could have at least been quiet about doing it instead of all that yelling. Jiraiya, it's time for you to pay for your crimes against women. We are not objects and we will be respected, Kurenai and Anko said. The Senin pervert interrupted him, saying, wait, this is a misunderstanding. I just came to talk to Jiraiya. Sama, just let me. In a puff of smoke, Jiraiya dropped his notebook and simply disappeared. Don't waste your breath. They'll never believe us no matter how hard we try to explain we're innocent. The best thing to do is to just run, he said. Heishi frowned angrily as he picked up the notebook and read the title. The Casanova Shinobi and the Heiress. Chapter 1. 2 Unattended Teens' Lustful Behavior. So you're not even going to bother to run? Anko asked, grinning with pleasure at hurting the haughty, prying Hyuga leader. Heishi was too dignified to attempt an explanation, and it would be even more embarrassing if he fled the bathhouse while being pursued by 2 women. He made the decision to simply accept what they considered required of a peeping Tom. The Hyuga leader was left battered in the dirt after the 2 women grinned and threw a flurry of punches and kicks. Naruto was surprised to find himself on top of the Hokage Mountain Monument as he was led to a remote location that Hinata enjoyed viewing at dusk. When he was younger, he would come here every day to observe the village. It always brought him inner peace. This was the place he missed the most in Konoha, and he was now sharing it with Hinata. No matter how long he was gone, the view remained the most breathtaking in the world. Hinata looked directly into Naruto's eyes and saw that he was genuinely moved by her bringing him to her haven from the world below. It's spectacular, isn't it? No one comes up here so we can talk and get to know each other better. Naruto was focusing on the woman in front of him rather than the scenery when he said, it's breathtaking. Hinata turned her head away from Naruto's view in embarrassment, her face flushing crimson. In order to observe the sun setting, Naruto approached a tree, sat down, and leaned against it. Hinata sat between Naruto's legs and leaned back into his chest, taking a daring new step. A nervous and stuttering Hinata asked, can I hold your hand? Hinata noticed how big Naruto's hand was in comparison to hers when he held it out in front of her. She carefully inspected his hand, then entwined her fingers with his. Naruto kissed the back of her head and asked, you come here a lot? Hinata cuddled closer to Naruto and said, yes, I do. We can forget about our troubles and gaze at the night sky carefree. It will be just you and me. Naruto gazed down at the stunning Hyuga girl in his lap and said, you want to stay in the village forever? You don't ever plan on leaving? As Hinata attempted to get out of Naruto's lap, her anxiety began to set in. This is my home. This is where my family and friends are. I'm also here, Mikado. I thought that you would want to be where I'm at, she said. Naruto pulled her back down a little. No, I thought you didn't like this village all like that. I thought you would love a change of scenery from this place. A chance to start over and be what you want to be. You can be like a phoenix and be reborn from your own ashes. Though her roots were in this village, Hinata gave it some thought and decided that being what she wanted to be sounded good. The village was her home and her family, regardless of how good or bad it was. I love this village, Mikado, and the only way it could become better if you were here next to me. With a broken heart, Naruto vowed to use his own hands to destroy this village and to never cause Hinata to cry or allow harm to come to her. For him, the decision was straightforward because Hinata was his top concern. Looking into her large, pearly eyes, Naruto asked, you wish for me to stay? In response to his question, Hinata enthusiastically nodded her head in agreement. For me to be with Hinata, then Naruto Uzumaki must truly die and Mikado Tae Shin must live on in his place. Maybe in time I can get Hinata to come with me and leave this village. She obviously likes me the way I like her. If it's just the 2 of us, we can make our own destiny and forge a new path. Naruto thought as he kept staring at his lover's legs. Then I'll stay, but one day, Hinata, we will have to venture out into the world and make our own future. This world is ours for the taking. All we have to do is reach for it. When Naruto looked at her, Hinata leaned back into her boyfriend's chest, feeling more at ease with him now that she understood his true feelings. As long as Mikado is by my side, but I must first change the way my clan thinks and change it for the better. I want a clan everyone can be proud of, main and branch family alike. If I can change this terrible tradition of sealing, I will have succeeded in my goal. As the sun began to set over the village, the two young lovers gazed at it. Both were happy to feel each other's warmth and heartbeat, and neither wanted to move. In just 3 weeks of training with Hinata, Naruto could see that she was making significant progress. Since their first date, they had practically become inseparable. Naruto kept training and intensified his efforts when Hinata was not present. Heishi saw Hinata's confidence and jutsu grow even more powerful. Despite his sincere feelings for her, Naruto began to feel guilty about the secret he was keeping from her because he knew he would keep her safe from everything, including himself. Hinata informed Naruto that she would see him at the park later today since she had some errands to run. Heishi Hyuga came up to Naruto as he was beginning to practice. After giving him a quick glance, the Hyuga leader said he would like to meet with Naruto at his compound later to talk about some issues pertaining to his daughter's relationship with him. Because Naruto remembered their first date and how her father had been brutally honest about his feelings, he was somewhat shocked and panicked. He bowed to Hinata's father and Naruto agreed to meet with him later. The Kyuubi reached out to Naruto as he was beginning to return to training. The Kyuubi asked him, wondering what was really going on, "Cub, you seem hesitant to destroying the Leaf Village now. Is because of the pale-eyed girl you're so eager to have sexual relations with?" "No, I don't know anymore what I want to do. I just don't want Hinata to be hurt in this attack. I don't seem to want to destroy my former village the way I used to. Orochimaru will never leave this village in peace, and I know that he will not stop until this village is destroyed. I have to come up with a way to take out Orochimaru and his Freaky Five." At last, Naruto devised a plan to simultaneously eliminate the Sound and Sand villages and save the village. The anger of Kurama pushed Naruto to show this unidentified foe that he was outclassed by the best of the best. It seems that someone is begging for your attention but having a hard time of masking their killer intent. Make it quick, Cub, and kill them. There is no one out here but the two of you. Make whoever suffer for challenging us. Call them out and show them our true power of the greatest Jinchuriki that ever lived, it said. Naruto saw the direction of the hatred and said, "Come on out, let's get this over with. I got better things to do than wait for you to make the first move." Kin emerged from the shadows and strode toward Naruto, saying, "So you know I'm here? Very impressive, but your death will end by my hands. Now face a true ninja from the Sound Village." "Well, it looks like Tayuya sent a lamb to kill a fox. You must be the biggest idiot that walked the planet to think that you of all people can kill me. Don't worry, before you die I'll have a little fun with you. That will be more entertaining than this one-way fight of ours will be." Naruto looked at Kin with a devilish grin that hurt to her core. "You really are a monster, aren't you? It will be my pleasure to give Tayuya and Orochimaru your head on a platter." Kin covered her chest and started to shake in terror. "You're thinking of raping me? Is that what's going on in that perverted mind of yours?" Kin asked. Naruto charged at Kin, punching her in the stomach and then straight into her jaw, knocking the small woman a few feet back and onto the ground. "You really are a dummy. I'm the third in command and Tayuya isn't even considered to be a useful ninja." "Enough of this, prepare to die," Naruto said. When Kin looked up, she saw Naruto grinning and gesturing for her to stand up and attack him. Kin could feel blood around her mouth, and there was a large rip in her lip. She hurried to her feet and charged directly at Naruto, who used one hand to block all of her blows as she delivered a few punches. With his free hand, Naruto slapped Kin's jaw with his backhand and then used the same hand to deliver an uppercut to the base of her chin. He covered his mouth as if he were yawning from boredom. Kin was shocked to learn that she was dealing with a murderer, not just any genin. She prepared to attack her prey by drawing her senbons. She was aware of Naruto's toughness because he easily defeated Dosu Kunita, but he was only teasing her. In the hopes of slamming his fist down on her, Naruto leapt into the air. After Naruto finally made a mistake, Kin grinned and used the hidden wire to throw her senbons at him, permanently taking him down. A log emerged as the senbons embedded themselves in the log with the wire attached after striking Naruto exactly. The substitution jutsu now rendered Kin's weapon ineffective. Taking out his kunai, Naruto rushed her once more, slicing her arms, legs, and chest until she fell to her knees. "You really are a one-trick pony, aren't you? I've seen what you did in the third round and I was far from impressed by you. Here's how you kill someone," he said. Kin looked horrified. This was really it for her. All of her aspirations to excel and study under Orochimaru were dashed. With his kunai back in his leg holster, Naruto walked slowly toward her and said, "Well, it looks like I can finally have my fun with you. I don't even feel tired. That's bad news for you, sweetheart." As Kin saw Naruto staring down at her, she started to cry. "Kill me quickly, but please don't rape me. Let me die with some dignity knowing I faced a stronger ninja." Who would want a perfectly flat chest girl like you? You're more like a boy than anything. You're skinny, knock-kneed, pigeon-toed, and you don't have any of the qualities like the girls I would choose. You should have been wiser about choosing your friends. Tayuya was the worst choice possible for you to follow blindly. Now do you want to live? Kin gave a nod in agreement. Good, now take off your jacket and shirt now, Naruto said, removing his black shirt and jacket, leaving only his wife beater on. Kin appeared on the verge of tears as she asked, I thought you said you wouldn't rape me? Naruto waited until she removed her shirt before saying, oh please, you will never come close to the woman I like physically or mentally. To stop the bleeding, Naruto grabbed her shirt and patted the places where she had been cut. While he retained her black shirt, Naruto gave it to Kin. She felt a little ashamed that Kin had seen her without a top as he put on his shirt. Now, you went kissing the wrong person if you wanted real power. I need you to complete a few off-the book missions back in the Suna just for me. Nobody has to know where you are. When Kin learned that she would have to forfeit her match in the Chunin exam because Naruto needed her to do something, she nearly lost her temper. Wait, I need to make Chunin. I can't advance myself in Orochimaru's militia if I don't get promoted. Stop talking, and I'll ask Orochimaru to personally promote you so you can become Chunin. The purpose of the Chunin exams is simply to showcase the village's talent and upcoming ninjas. If you try this shit again about killing me, I'll cut off both of your hands and legs entirely. If you do this, I'll fulfill all of your dreams. When Kin looked at Naruto, she knew he was telling the truth, sparing her, and giving her a chance to rise in the hierarchy. Naruto gave her instructions on what to do and where to go, and he gave her a mission in the Suna to get some scrolls to help her develop her skills. Although Kin wasn't sure if Naruto was playing her, she had to take a chance and decided that Naruto was the better option than Tayuya. She accepted what Naruto was telling her, telling him she would begin the mission immediately. As she was leaving, a member of the Hyuga approached Naruto with a letter, which Naruto read before leaving for the Hyuga complex. The third Hokage accompanied Hinata as she returned to the Hokage Tower in search of proof that would enable Naruto to escape Orochimaru's clutches and assisted her in going through the paperwork. Are you still trying to find Naruto? The Hokage said, setting some files beside her. She continued to search for more details about Orochimaru's whereabouts, saying, I have to stop him. He told me that Naruto is going to help destroy the village, so I'm going to find Naruto and bring him back safe and sound. The third Hokage stood up and assisted Hinata in sorting through the old files on the table, saying, have faith. I don't think Naruto would ever betray the Leaf Village and be allied with Orochimaru as well. If Naruto's heart has truly changed, I think that it's your kindness that can guide him back to where he belongs. Looking at all the papers lined up, she said, thank you, Lord Hokage. Everyone thinks that I should have given up a long time ago, but something pushes me to keep going. How about Mikado? He chuckled and said, don't look surprised. The entire village talks about the two of you, so naturally it would get back to me. As she flushed, the third Hokage grinned at her and said, I know people are already thinking that we were engaged and that we didn't just make it official. He understands why I need to bring back Naruto, and he was never jealous or felt threatened about what I'm doing. I hope that's the kind of man you want in your life, because that is a sign of a fine gentleman who cares for you. The third Hokage began leaving to go back to work at his desk upstairs. Though she assumed she would assist Naruto, Hinata knew the Hokage was correct about Mikado and had never imagined that she could feel that way about someone other than Naruto. She began to consider her future and saw him, but something kept drawing her back to Naruto. When she returned home after completing her search, she was shocked to discover Mikado was on his way to the Hyuga compound. She quickly caught up with him. In order to prevent Mikado from making a grave error, she caught her breath and said, you must be with the Hyuga or ask at the front gate. You are not allowed to come on the compound uninvited. I accepted your father's lunch invitation, and he said he needed to talk to me about you. I am a little anxious because I can't stop seeing you, and I think that's what this meeting is about, he said, looking into the eyes of the person he loved. Hinata felt sick to her stomach and wanted to cry. She knew they were more than just friends, but the idea of him abandoning her because of Hyuga custom made her feel sick to her very core. She believed she would flee with him if they would not allow them to continue their relationship. A member of the Hyuga branch arrived as they got closer to the house and led them to the patio in the back, where her father was waiting for Naruto. Heishi was startled to see his daughter strolling beside Naruto, wearing a dejected expression. Heishi got to his feet and said, well, I see that you're here too. I can kill two birds with one stone. Making Mikado leave her alone was the reason why Hinata's world was spinning. Mikado, do you wish to continue seeing my daughter, yes or no? Yes, was the only response Naruto gave. Since you're not a Hyuga, you must show that you're strong at heart. mind and body. The Hyuga elders are coming over to examine you and I want them to look at your skills. Do you have any objection to that, Mikado? Naruto stayed silent and shook his head. No. 3 elder Hyuga and a Chunin Hyuga were waiting for them to join them as they made their way to the training facility. When the Chunin looked at Naruto, he assumed it was a joke that some spoiled half-wit was vying for the right to wed the clan's heir. Mikado, you have the right to refuse or to accept. The heiress of the clan is someone who must not accept weak ninjas' proposals but to accept strong bloodlines or abilities. We do not know of your abilities, but Heishi seems to think that you are worthy of his daughter's time. Hinata was unable to believe that her dad was in favor of Mikado's proposal. The elder Hyuga said, "You must defeat this Chunin or be on the same level as him. Do you accept this challenge, Mikado?" With a glare that was completely emotionless. "Wait, you're putting him against Hideo. He's known as the Chunin assassin of the Hyuga clan. How is that fair? Hideo will make Jonin next year and Mikado is just a genin. You're putting him in great danger. In less than 3 days he has to fight Neji. Can't this wait?" Hinata begged the elders to set a subsequent time to fight. No, if he can't hold his ground now it only shows that his bloodline is weak and his ability is overrated. He must fight now. Do you wish to add anything to say, Mikado? Hinata, I would go to hell and back to be by your side, to share my dreams with you and all that they ask for me to do to prove my love for you. It's easy as breathing. If they had told me to walk to the moon and back, I would have found a way because you are truly my soulmate come to life. I'm ready to begin. Naruto entered the arena holding his head on high. He had to fight back. Back times this month for the second time, but it didn't stop him from being with Hinata. Nothing. Everyone in the village was aware of Hideo and feared him, so even though Heishi knew the boy loved his daughter, he still believed he would pass out at the sight of him. Only a few Hyuga and Heishi were able to resist him, and some were not even interested in finding out. Hideo knew the game would end soon and Hinata would be his forever companion as he strode onto the field. Me and you will have many babies together, Hinata, and you will please me every night as my wife. I will show you what a real man looks like after I win your hand and get rid of this weak blood ninja that thinks he has what it takes to please you, Hideo said while scowling at the boy with dark hair. Watch what you say, Hideo, you haven't won, and that's my daughter. Let's start the match until you've shown that you are not my son. Hiashi detested this young man and could not imagine him referring to him as his son. As Naruto and Hideo looked at each other, Hideo activated his Byakugan and waited for the elders to say begin. As they yelled start, Hideo quickly tried to stop Naruto by hitting his chakra points to win the match early. Naruto quickly avoided and blocked with his fist every time Hideo swung. Heishi thought that was clever. It is hard to hit chakra point when a fist is made to block. He wondered who taught him that. Naruto used his speed to try to connect a punch to the back of the Chunin's head, but he forgot that they have a 360 view of everything. Hideo struck Naruto into his chest with the gentle fist, causing him to back up. Naruto had never felt a blow like that in his life. It was aching and it was not even a heavy strike. Hideo smiled and rushed Naruto as he tried to strike Naruto again. He easily blocked and matched his speed and blocked everything that his assailant threw at him. Hideo was heated. How some genin could be that skilled to block everything that was thrown at him. The elders and Heishi were impressed as the genin stood toe to toe with Hideo. Naruto quickly backed up and swung hoping to hit Hideo, but Hideo was too much of a veteran and landed another blow into Naruto's chest. Naruto's wind was gone as he backed up gasping for air. With a smile on his face, Hideo said, "You are now mine, Hake Rokuju Yanshu, 64, palm strike." After taking blow after blow, Naruto eventually fell to the ground. Heishi sighed and lowered his head, anticipating Hinata's tears as he was arranged to someone like him. Naruto looked up to see Hinata crying, and he began to stand up despite the pain, feeling as though every major organ had been ruptured. Naruto was barely able to stand when he said, "I'm not done yet, it's far from over. I'll never let someone like you treat Hinata bad. Like I said, she makes me strong. Please don't, Mikado. I'll marry him. Just stay down, or he'll try to kill you." Naruto straightened up and took a deep breath as he gazed at the young man in front of him. "Have faith in me, Hinata. I won't lose to him, and I won't definitely lose your love, not after I searched for so long to feel emotions I thought were truly gone in my heart." Since the elders had never heard of anyone standing up after being hit by the 64 palm strike, they reasoned that perhaps this genin would make a suitable fiancé for Hinata after all. Heishi hushed Hinata and drew her nearer to him. "You lost. You greasy-haired fool. You can't use chakra, so what are you going to do, stare me to death?" Naruto waited for the result while standing there and putting all of his energy into his body. After giving him a quick glance, Hideo charged in to make the kill. With lightning fast reflexes, Naruto dodged Hideo's headshot and slammed his opponent's chest with all of his strength, shattering one of Hideo's ribs in the process. Holding his sides, Hideo let his guard down and backed away from Naruto, letting out a painful scream. Naruto screamed with intense rage and pleasure, "You have your technique of the 60. 4 palm, here is my version of it, the 30.2 strikes of the dragon." Hideo fell to the ground and was knocked unconscious by Naruto's blonde powerhouse precision attack, which hit every important organ and joint on his body. That was unlike anything Heishi had ever seen. Heishi used his Byakugan to see that Naruto held back so he wouldn't do too much damage, which only rendered Hideo incapacitated. Naruto used his wind element to encircle his fist, making it nearly deadly to the touch. Hinata ran to Naruto's side and sobbed into his arms while holding him close and refusing to let go. Heishi was relieved that everything had worked out because he could not imagine Hideo marrying his daughter. One of the Hyuga elders started talking as they gathered. "You have genuinely shown the Hyuga Council and clan that you are a deserving candidate. We accept your skills, which are more than sufficient to be passed on to the next generation. We have given our unanimous approval for you to marry her if you ever want to." As the elder man started to leave with the other council members, he said, "Your skills are strong as they come, and you will make our clan stronger. We grant you peace and wish you luck in the future." Hinata was at last 100% content. She had someone who truly loved her, and she loved him from the bottom of her heart. Despite briefly thinking about Naruto, she assured her father that she and Mikado would not rush into anything and that they would not tell anyone in the village until they were ready to announce it to the entire village. Heishi agreed and congratulated Naruto once more. Naruto knew he had to carry out his plan tonight because Kabuto was coming with plans to attack the village, and he was not going to allow them to destroy the leaf. As he slept with Hinata on his shoulder, she told him how happy she was, and that this was the first time she had considered the future and how bright it looked. Naruto informed her that he had to go relax at the hotel due to his injuries, and she kissed him goodbye, feeling as though her heart was full of love today. Naruto waited on Kabuto at the agreed upon meeting place. He was so sick of the horseplay between Kree and Kazuki that Kazuki noticed a significant change in Naruto's demeanor, saying that he was less evil and happier, even talking to them a little more and not threatening them at all. As Kabuto entered, he gave them all the attack plan, which stated that the Creepy Five would be there to reinforce the battle between Orochimaru and the Hokage. Naruto had the information, but he knew that getting into the Hokage's house would not be easy. He recalled that when he stole the scroll, it was easy because no one knew about the entrance, which was designed for a small child to enter. Naruto decided to go there first to see if he could fit his body in it, and when he did, he had to remember which way he used to sneak into the old man's house, and he went right in. He took out the papers, stuck them against the wall with his kunai so the Hokage couldn't miss them, then hid back into the pipes and ran back to the hotel. "Why did you do that, young cub? Naruto, what are you doing now?" the Kyuubi said, sounding irate. "It's simple to get rid of Orochimaru. He is destroyed with hardly any effort on my part, and nobody comes looking for me." As Naruto continued speaking to the Kyuubi, he said, "The other plan is I'm going to get rid of the Freaky Five. Kabuto is so far up Orochimaru's ass, when he dies, Kabuto dies as well." "Good plan. But how does the third Hokage fit in?" the Kyuubi said. "He knows nothing about me. He will think it was some sound ninja with a conscience." Naruto, who was eager to see Hinata tomorrow morning, went upstairs to sleep. The morning after, he met Hinata in the training field and steadily practiced his taijutsu with her. As they both grew tired from their workout, she kept smiling at him to let him know that he was the one she loves. Naruto was unsure whether to tell her that he was Naruto or to wait until Orochimaru was dead. He wanted to kick himself because he never imagined that far ahead, but he would still be happy. As they were speaking, a figure appeared, the third Hokage, heading directly toward them. Naruto had to calm himself. Perhaps he was just stopping by to speak to Hinata, or perhaps his presence was merely coincidental. "This is Mikado. It's good to meet you. Hinata and Hiyashi told me a lot about you." He smiled at him, suggesting that the newly engaged couple deserves congratulations. "Jiraiya told me everything about you and said that you have a lot of talent. I never really liked Hideo because he was a really nasty person who was rude to women. You have to be strong to defeat him." After Mikado fell, I thought I would lose him forever. He has a warrior's heart and a poet's soul. But please don't tell anyone. Mikado and I are trying to keep it a secret. We still like each other, and we want to make sure he feels the same way, she said with a small laugh. Obviously, Hinata, I'll feel the same way. My love won't change. The only things that will change are the time and the clouds. After Hinata's declaration of love, you could almost hear her heart pounding faster. The third Hokage concluded that it was true love and that he had to return to his job, so he parted ways with the young lovers and went back to work. Naruto nearly lost it when he started asking questions, but he was relieved to be gone, which allowed him to spend more time with Hinata. Returning to the Hokage Tower. Do you want us to treat this Lord Hokage seriously? You want to think it's real when someone gives you plans for an invasion? Enko said. It comes from a trustworthy source, and I can't yet disclose who gave it to me because doing so would seriously jeopardize their life. It's very real, and the attack will occur. I believe we will require Jiraiya's assistance, so see if anyone can find him. When they attack, I want each and every one of you in this room that I trust to lead your teams to these locations. The Hokage gazed out the window and said, once this is finished, we will finally have Orochimaru at our mercy. As he closed his book and met the third's eyes, Kakashi asked, what about Danzo? Should we alert him too? He hasn't been trustworthy lately, so nobody is permitted to discuss these plans, not even amongst yourselves, when you're not present in this room, understand? Inform Danzo that we require security at the last minute and instruct them to conduct a full weapons drill. The Hokage declared, I want this to go off without a hitch. Do you believe we can defeat the enemy with 2 days of planning? They had to plan this for at least a year or more, if what you say is accurate, Guy said. Asuma lit a cigarette and said, don't worry, we'll have the element of surprise, they won't know what hit them. The Hokage knew with all his heart and soul who had given him the plans, and he had faith in him to do the right thing. But as all the Jonin and trusted clan heads left the building, he had to have faith that the plan to destroy the leaf was real, or else he might lose faith that his ninjas had placed in him. After stretching and taking in the fresh air as the sun rose, Tayuya stepped out of her tent and hurried over to inspect Kin's jacket that was dangling from a kunai on a tree. Wow, it appears that someone was brutally murdered and mutilated. It resembles Naruto's creation. As he studied the holes and looked at the blood-soaked jacket, Jirobo remarked, he must have been furious to do it this way. That's Kin's coat, isn't it? What would make Naruto murder her? Kidomaru removed his companion's coat. That jerk murdered one of our allies and is now threatening us. Naruto needs to be disciplined, so send a message and invite Kimimaro to the Leaf Village. Given that the invasion was less than 48 hours away, Saken was incensed that Naruto would act in such a manner. Send for Kimimaro. There's no need to involve him. However, I propose that we murder that ass clown Jinchuriki, son of a bitch, once we destroy Leaf Village. But one thing. I get to eliminate him. If he swallows those Jinchuriki little balls whole, I want to shove them in his mouth. Tayuya became so enraged that everyone could sense her intention to kill. On the day of the invasion, they all agreed that Naruto Uzumaki would perish. Naruto made the decision to go to the stadium and prepare to defeat Orochimaru once and for all as he prepared to fight in the Chunin exam finals. He looked around, knew where to set up his traps, swiftly scanned all the escape route exits, and was finally ready. He knew how to get away without the Konohagakure forces noticing him. Naruto was on his way out when he noticed the third Hokage coming toward him. Are you eager to compete in the Chunin exams, Mikado? I mean, everyone wants to watch you fight with Gaara and Uchiha now. As the third walked alongside him, he said, I'm not looking for Sasuke to fight. I want Neji simple and plain. What he did to Hinata is unforgivable in my eyes. I myself would like to see you and Sasuke fight. Since both of you have two completely different styles, it would be interesting to see the outcome of your battle. Mikado, you genuinely adore Hinata, don't you? He looked at Naruto worriedly and said, remember that they are cousins and Hinata will try to work it out with Neji. She is fine because of that jutsu you perform, so there is no need for revenge. I am unable to pardon him for his actions, which were unacceptable. I sensed his hatred for her when he attempted to kill her. Yes, I am aware, but can't you forgive if Hinata can? I believe Hinata would make an excellent diplomat for our village because she understands that love is the remedy for hate. She has a unique perspective and the capacity to read people's emotions, which is why Neji was so upset with her. As they strolled around the stadium, she understood him. You want me to comprehend his behavior for what it was? I have personally witnessed and experienced hatred. You may have wisdom, Lord Hokage, but I know the depth of people's hatred. It's unfathomable of what they can do to the weak and peaceful, Naruto said, looking at the Hokage to see if he had a counter-argument to his assertion that dominance is the best understanding for those kinds of people. Some people are merely vicious, evil, and mindless animals who seek only to destroy everything that stands in their way. I don't want to interact with these types of people, but if they approach me with the intention of hurting me or something, Naruto knew he needed to stop. Yes, people do appear to behave in that manner, but their fear is what causes their hearts to become filled with mistrust. However, for every person who harbors mistrust, hatred, or anger, there are thousands who will seek the truth, understand them, and instill in them a sense of understanding, trust, and hope. These are the people of the future who will form friendships with their average citizen. As the Hokage began to leave Naruto and return to his office, he said, "Just consider what I said, there is always a reason why someone acts the way they do. Good luck to you Mikado Taishin on your match with Neji Hyuga. Those are the future, and Hinata is part of that generation that will be the beacon of hope for a better tomorrow." As Naruto sat at the bench waiting for the matches to start in 4 hours, he thought he would just sit and think about the choices he had made throughout his life, the good and the bad, and reflect on Hinata and what the Hokage had said. If everyone had a heart like hers, the world would be a better place to live. When the competitors began to arrive, they were all taken aback to see Mikado, Naruto sitting there, gazing up at the sky. Tenten thought Naruto was scared to approach Neji, so she leaned over to speak with him. "I believe he is scared of you. He arrived here early, and he simply lacks the tenacity he once possessed." Tenten laughed and said to Neji, "It appears that the lion has turned into a lamb. He simply defeated Hideo to gain the authority to formally court Hinata, so I don't think so." As Neji gazed at his new opponent, he said, "He's a very skilled individual and I will have my hands full when I battle him. Get out of here." Hideo defeated him despite being more skilled than the majority of high-level Chunin. There's a problem with this Mikado. He's from the southern Konoha, but nobody there has ever heard of someone with his level of skill, so why does he come along and make us all look like losers? Tenten wished her friend luck and warned Neji, "Be careful, if he is as good as the Jonins think, you are in for a battle like none you ever faced before." While searching for Hinata, Naruto spotted her with her younger sister and approached them. "Hinata, I need you to do me a favor. I need to speak with you immediately following my match." Naruto smiled at her and walked toward the field. "I really need your trust on this, but I will explain everything to you later." When they called for the genin to come to the field, everyone saluted the crowd and the Hokage, and as they walked to the field, Naruto felt a little nervous about the large crowd and what might happen. The proctor looked at both of them and asked if they were ready. Naruto asked the proctor if he could ask Neji a question before they started, and the proctor allowed him to do so. Hanabi thought that Hinata's boyfriend had that bad boy feature, which is why Hinata was so attracted to him. So why go to that extent with the attack on Hinata? You were supposed to give your life to protect her, right? She has one of the sweetest hearts I've ever met, so why did you take it personally? Naruto awaited a response. She is our clan's future leader and a failure. She was destined to lead us while I was trapped in the branch family. After my father sacrificed his life for the main branch, I was left to suffer the curse of a jutsu that would not go away until I died. He looked at him angrily and said, "She is blessed by destiny, just as I was cursed. My destiny is to never be defeated, and you will be part of that list of enemies I vanquish." The proctor yelled, "Fight," and Naruto shook his head, indicating that he wanted retribution just as much as he did. The Jonins wondered why either Naruto or Mikado was considering attempting to face off against a Hyuga, and as they clashed, neither of them was able to gain the upper hand. Neji began to believe that Neji was as tough as they come for being a genin. He was actually giving him a respectable fight. As he approached, he saw an opening and lunged right at his adversary chakra hole, sealing it, quickly getting behind him when he was stunned, and quickly pressing some more chakra holes on his body. As he backed up, he felt his chakra was gone, and as Neji smiled, he too, making him wonder what was going through his mind. "Mikado, you're practically dead now. You cannot win if you have no chakra." Neji struck his opponent mercilessly as he assumed the 64-palm stance, but as he looked, he saw that his opponent was blocking every blow that was thrown at him. When Neji realized that his opponent couldn't possibly block his attacks without chakra, Naruto rushed in and punched Neji so forcefully that blood flew from his mouth. "Impossible!" Neji cried. "You could never do that, not against my Byakugan." Neji used Hakesho Kaden, Divine Cyclone, to deflect Naruto away from him after Naruto hurried him once more. Naruto was taken aback by that tactic and began to approach Neji more cautiously. When Neji returned to his stance to execute his 64 palms, the same result was obtained. Neji became agitated at his opponent's haughtiness and said, "How the hell is he doing this without using chakra? No one is that good to see my attacks. He's still standing there looking at me with those damn eyes of his." Naruto waited for Neji to approach him this time. When Neji attacked once more, Naruto reached into his satchel and took out what looked like smoke bombs. Leaping back, Neji simply glanced at his opponent. "Really, a smoke bomb? Do you really think that will work on me? I can see through stone and walls, so what make you think that I will be affected by that little smoke bomb of yours?" He looked at his opponent with a smug expression. Naruto threw it between them and covered his eyes, saying, "Whoever said it was a smoke bomb, asshole." It was a unique stun bomb that confused and disoriented people by emitting a bright light. For a moment, Neji was blinded by the constant punches to his head, and eventually he passed out from the force of the blows. The proctor, unable to stand, approached Neji and discovered that he had been severely beaten. Naruto approached Neji as the proctor announced Mikado as the winner. "Unpredictable ninja you truly are. I never saw that coming. You let me seal your chakra holes on purpose, didn't you? You let me think that I was in charge, and when I got frustrated I started to think irrationally and I paid the price. Yes, I let you seal my chakra holes. I seen your teammate Rock Lee fight without chakra against a tough opponent. He used every bit of his strength to overcome an impossible odd and almost won. He inspired me to think outside of the box of being a ninja. He had no chakra, but he had courage to do what was needed to win by his heart and skills. I waited for so long to have this match. I trembled with rage on all the terrible things I would do to you for hurting my Hinata. I pictured you broken beyond repair. I wanted to unleash all of my hatred and rage on you. But the thought of me harming you would destroy Hinata. I couldn't bear for her to be sad for something I've done. That's something I could never live with, as me being the cause of her pain. When you told me why you tried to harm Hinata, I finally understood you, Neji. You are so much like me, except I am no genius. All I had was anger, hate for being wronged my entire life. I was ready to punish the innocent along with the guilty because of their hatred for me. Then your cousin appeared like an angel and she took me out of the darkness and into the light. She showed me understanding and kindness, friendship and love. She tried showing you the same, but you refused because you had distrust in your heart. Make your own destiny and make many bonds with the people who want to be by your side." As Naruto walked away, he knew that he had to come clean with Hinata. Hinata's heart melted with happiness she had never experienced in her life as she listened to everything her beloved said. She knew immediately that she had his heart when he referred to her as my Hinata. She was only able to categorize this new feeling as an emotion that was unique to her and had no name or definition. Adjectives were unable to adequately describe it. Grinning, she made her way to Mikado, Naruto. After hearing what he had to say, the Hokage was relieved that the young genin was beginning to grow into something bigger. He heard the cheers of the spectators after a thrilling opening game. As he entered the field, Sasuke turned to face his opponent. "I wish to challenge you, Mikado. You are my equal in every way possible. My Sharingan is waiting to see every little move you make." As he stared at him ominously. "I need to prove myself and my abilities, and you are so worthy of me facing you. I have no quarrel with you, Uchiha, but I have some advice. Power is just an illusion. The real power is protecting the ones you love. I just realized how powerless I am. My abilities could be so much more if I had someone precious to me to protect sooner. If I'd found out that information earlier, I would truly be unstoppable ninja. Hinata makes me stronger. Even in my dreams I'm not as powerful as when I am with her. Give up your quest for power and revenge. It's a hell filled with seclusion and despair that will only send you to an early grave quicker." Naruto was walking by Sasuke. Sasuke completely stopped Naruto by grabbing his arm. "You're spewing that sentimental bullshit to me. You didn't become this way because of love, it was hatred, simple and plain. I sensed it when I first met you at the first exam. Your hatred made the hair on my neck stand up. You know just as well as me. Hatred makes your ambitions reality. It gives you motivation for you to succeed." Sasuke released Naruto's arm and proceeded. After shaking his head, Naruto left the field and went directly to Hinata, giving her a piece of paper. Swiftly releasing Neji's pressure point on Naruto, she moved away from him and completed the task he had given her on the paper. Although some were beginning to question whether this exam was really testing him, the Jonins and the Hokage were impressed by his resourcefulness in taking on a Hyuga prodigy. The proctor informed the audience that the next game would start in 30 minutes, at which point they could get refreshments from the stadium food court. The next match, which pitted Sasuke against Gaara, was about to start. Gaara noticed a change from their previous battle as they took the field. He was beginning to experience that lust once more. Having learned a new technique from Kakashi that could defeat Gaara and even Mikado, Sasuke was more focused and prepared to take action. Both of them had a burning desire to kill as they waited for the proctor to order them to begin. They swiftly assumed their fighting positions as soon as they heard the word, "Start." After witnessing Gaara order his sand to emerge from his gourd, Sasuke leapt backward and hurled a few shurikens, which the sand readily absorbed. As Sasuke ran toward Gaara, the sand defended him, and as he met Gaara's eyes directly, he abruptly vanished from Gaara's line of sight. Gaara was knocked off his feet by Sasuke, who came from his blind side and moved at Rock Lee's speed. The action happening on the field was driving the crowd crazy. As the crowd began to nod off, a jutsu performance began, and the Jonin realized that the invasion was about to start. The Hokage got to his feet, ready to fight with his allies, when the cage abruptly seized the third Hokage. He turned to face his old teacher and said, "This ends today, Sarutobi. Sensei, the Leaf Village dies tonight by my followers." As the third Hokage escaped his hold, he said, "You're right, this finally ends tonight, Orochimaru." The Leaf appeared ready for the attack, which surprised the Sound and Sand as they launched their attack. To create a wall between himself and the Hokage, Orochimaru summoned Jirubu, Kidomaru, Sakin, Yukon, and Tayuya. Orochimaru was prepared to face the Hokage as they executed the barrier. The barrier collapsed as Orochimaru got closer to the third Hokage, who was looking around to see what had happened when his followers were all hit with kunais to the head and were lying slumped over dead. He glanced around and noticed Naruto carrying a kunai as he emerged from the shadows. Tayuya appeared to be still alive when Naruto looked down. He had a good chunk of her neck but missed her head. Tayuya yelled, "You traitor!" As she turned to see her teammate dead. She attempted to activate her curse seal, but Naruto flipped her over and pressed his kunai deep inside her chest, saying, "I'll kill you, Fu. Fuck, king bastard." Orochimaru could only hear her yelling in pain. She sagged over as Naruto flipped her on her stomach and slammed the kunai into her back. Gazing menacingly at his former sensei, he grabbed her head by her hair and slammed it down on the concrete. "You little shit. How dare you betray your master? I will kill you for this treachery. I trained you and this is what I receive for my thanks. I should have killed you the moment I met you," as he roared in anger at Naruto. Naruto stood over Tayuya and took the kunai out of her back, saying, "Should've, could've but didn't. Next time you won't be so careless. I told her that she would one day meet the end of my kunai. I feel so much better now that she kicked the bucket. It feels so liberating now that she gone." Naruto kicked her dead body 3 times in the ribs to express his satisfaction at her passing. Naruto grinned evilly and said, "I'm sorry, but it appears that you won't be able to kill me again. The Anbu and some Jonin will be here to help you go to hell." A puff of smoke appeared as Orochimaru drew his sword and slashed Naruto across the chest. "Damn it, a shadow clone. I'll kill you for this," he exclaimed as he fled behind the Anbu and Kakashi. The third Hokage was horrified by what had been done to Orochimaru's pupil. He was astounded by the brutality that came from such a young person. He noticed the young girl was still breathing, albeit faintly, as he looked down. "Medics, come help this girl now. But be very careful when you're healing her, she's one of Orochimaru's subordinates." As they worked to stabilize the kunai wounds on her neck and upper body, they made a hasty attempt to heal her. With haste, the third Hokage left the young girl and entered the fray. Orochimaru was aware that Naruto's treachery had caused his plan to fail miserably. He knew that if he couldn't find a way out of the village, he would die instantly because he was surrounded by nearly every leaf ninja and villager who was capable of fighting. At a village dead-end street, Kakashi and 12 Anbu agents were encircling him as he fled the villagers. Kakashi swiftly withdrew his kunai and said, "You're finally going to die, Orochimaru. Any last words before we send you to the spirit world?" "Well, I guess before I die you should be warned of the one who betrayed me. He probably made plans of some kind by taking a certain prize Keke Genkai out of the village, maybe a love-stricken Hyuga? I'm pretty sure she will be worth some money for ransom to help build up support for the Sound Village for his rule. I'm pretty sure that is what he's planning. He was smarter than I thought. He didn't need to lift a finger to get rid of me," as he chuckled to himself on Naruto cleverness. "Mikado Tae Shin will definitely do what I couldn't do. Destroy all of you in this village you so much cherish. He's already trained to perfection by yours truly," as he backed away. Kakashi yelled, "Mikado is your student?" In order to help him get away from his captors, Orochimaru swiftly slammed his hand to the ground and called forth a gigantic snake. The snake swiftly buried itself beneath the earth to save his master after consuming Orochimaru whole. As Kakashi began to battle more Sand and Sound ninjas, they attempted to defeat him and prevent him from leaving the village. "Quickly go tell the Hokage of Mikado and his connection to Orochimaru. I'll go and retrieve Hinata Hyuga from him. I can move faster by myself and you need to get rid of these invaders that stand in your way," he said. At last, Naruto had left the village and was on his way to the location where you would meet Hinata. He was startled for a moment as a huge snake emerged from underground close by as he continued to run to his assigned spot. When the snake's mouth opened, he saw Orochimaru looking angry like never before. Orochimaru knew that his summoning snake would not be able to move effectively in the wooded area, so he sent him to engage his former pupil in a 1. On .1 Battle. Naruto swiftly fled to a wooded area to seek refuge from the enormous serpent. Orochimaru was about to attack his former disciple when he said, "You little bastard, all of my men have been slaughtered because of you. And for what? You want to destroy the leaf all by yourself? Interesting, you found me so quick and escaped from the Anbu. You really are impressive as they come, but I have business to take care of and I will see you some other time. You will die, and all for nothing. The leaf is strong as ever and wise about you now, so what are you going to do, Naruto-kun?" As Naruto leapt down to gaze at Orochimaru, he said, "I don't care about destroying that hellhole of a village anymore. I have the woman of my dreams and it can't get no better than this. I'm no longer your weapon, no longer your ninja. I'm my own man now and I'll have a life with the woman I love." The words, "You betrayed me for a girl. A stupid, insignificant, and useless girl who's only taking up space in this world. It's time to get rid of you, you useless Jinchuriki," caused Orochimaru's nostrils to flare up in rage. "I'm going to make sure that I feed you into itty-bitty pieces to my snake summons. You have totally fucked yourself, Naruto." Orochimaru launched a swift attack with the intention of killing him and leaving his body for the vultures to eat. Naruto avoided hitting him, instead dodging and blocking his blows. Naruto used his wind jutsu to attack Orochimaru after he ducked his attacker's vicious attacks. Orochimaru then grabbed Naruto by the throat and slammed him to the ground with full force. In order to bring Orochimaru down, Naruto swiftly wrapped his legs around his arm. Orochimaru's arm bent like rubber before being released by the arm bar Naruto placed him in. To escape his sensei's attack, Naruto leapt back, hurled 2 kunais at his target, and let out an exploding paper tag. Orochimaru swerved and used his incredible speed to strike Naruto in the stomach before delivering a well-placed blow to the head. Naruto stumbled, but he got up fast and attempted to perform the Sarutobi shadow dance. Orochimaru grabbed Naruto by the elbow, sidestepped his leg sweep, moved behind him, and used his arm to lift him by the neck. After choking, Naruto swiftly used his flexibility to strike his former sensei in the face by bringing his leg straight up by his head. As Orochimaru watched Naruto run away from him once more, he released the choke hold. "Come and face me, you scared little Jinchuriki, you weak, pathetic bastard. I want to see you suffer. If I have to wait 5 lifetimes, I will see you broken in more ways than one. You better do it now, because in 1 year's time I will surpass you and then I'm coming to kill you. That's a promise of a lifetime, believe it." Naruto saw Hinata emerge from the bushes as he leapt to the highest tree branch to consider a fresh strategy for dealing with the current circumstance. Orochimaru also saw her and grinned at the result. As she stood there perplexed, she asked, "Mikado-kun, what's happening? Who is this man you're fighting and why did I have to meet you here?" Orochimaru snarled hatefully at Naruto, saying, "You took my dream, I guess I'll take yours." Naruto had never heard his master's voice sound so homicidal. All he could hear was Naruto yelling to flee from him as he sprang toward Hinata, his teeth out to bite her neck. He saw the fear in Hinata's eyes as he sped up to meet her. His teeth quickly pierced her, causing an explosion that reverberated throughout the forest. Naruto pretended to be Hinata while wearing his exploding shadow clone. "Not only am I a good ninja but also a great actor. I've been practicing that jutsu for over a month just hoping to use it and to see if it works. This is different from my shadow clone explosion. It's more like a grenade-type explosion with my wind element and the Nine Tails chakra combined inside a shadow clone. Once you activated it, you received not only the explosion but also the wind cutting and tearing your flesh from your bones. This technique destroys your body on a cellular level. It's like being cut by a million razors over and over inside your body." As Naruto felt proud of himself for pulling it off. Because of the severe cuts on his body and the loss of his right arm, Orochimaru was unable to stand and was not in a fit state to fight. As if things couldn't get any worse, Naruto charged Orochimaru and connected him with a full blast using a true Rasengan. Orochimaru simply stared at Naruto in disbelief that he had finished the jutsu as he flew back into a tree. Orochimaru, who was actually the child of Minato and Kushina, spat up more blood than he had ever seen in his entire life. Naruto looked into his hand and saw that he held the power of life and death in it. "I told you that Rasengan would be the ultimate offensive weapon in my arsenal, and I'm going to keep on modifying it until it reaches legendary status," he said. "The pupil now equals the master. Congratulations, but be warned there are others that will come for you, so I can wait for your death by the hands of the Akutsuki or myself. You are on borrowed time, Naruto-kun. Sayonara, Naruto-kun, when we meet again it will be for the last time. Either I'll kill you or you'll kill me," as he disappeared into a tree. Until that day, Sensei, Live long and well, because the day we meet again I'll have more jutsus that will end that wretched existence of yours." Naruto hurried to the actual Hinata location to tell her about his future plans for the two of them. He didn't know how to introduce himself as Naruto Uzumaki to her as he sprinted as fast as he could to reach her. He asked her to wait near the spot where he saw her. Hinata looked at her fiancé and begged him to give her some much needed answers. "Mikado-kun, I heard a loud explosion and I was going to check it out, but I didn't want to miss you. Why did you make me come out here, and what about the Chunin exam finale? What is going on telling me it was about life and death to leave and meet you here? I need your full trust, Hinata. I have lied to you and misled you, and what I am about to tell you might make you hate me. The Leaf was attacked, but I told them about Orochimaru's plans. Although the Leaf won, I used to work for Orochimaru. I want you to accompany me now that I am independent and free of him so that we can build a future together. You betrayed my village and me by lying to us. You completely exploited me for your own purposes, and you are a traitor. I trusted you, and you made me believe in you, which is why I fell in love with you. Stay away from me. Is your name really Mikado? Isn't it?" She screamed in fear to escape Naruto, slapping his face and punching his chest as she attempted to flee to her village. "Wait," he said, grabbing her by the waist. "You know who I am, even though Mikado is not my name." Naruto relaxed his hold and held her close while speaking softly to her. As she struggled to escape, she said, "I know your face and I never met you when I was younger. Let me return to my village and you can go to hell, whoever you are." Naruto turns her around gently and says, "Look into my eyes and you will see the extension of my soul, who I really am. Just look into my eyes and I will show you who I am." Naruto completely exposed his eyes to her by removing all of his hair from his brow. She saw his real eyes as she made the decision to look in order to avoid him. Although she was aware that it was impossible, she recognized those eyes. "You wanted to find Naruto, right? I am Naruto Uzumaki." Hinata looked at Mikado as Naruto was ready to transform, worried that she hadn't heard correctly that he was Naruto. When Naruto sensed some kunais approaching him out of instinct, he hurriedly pushed Hinata away. However, he pushed her down too forcefully, causing her to strike her head on a rock and lose consciousness. "So you betrayed Hinata and your master Orochimaru. So are you going to try and sell Hinata to get money for your complete sovereign of the Sound Village too? It doesn't matter, you will die this day, you little bastard." When Kakashi showed off his Sharingan eye. "I don't know what you've been told, but you got some arrogance thinking I will just roll over and play dead for you. I heard of your legendary skills through Jiraiya and Orochimaru, how you're some type of genius way back in the war days. You mastered 1,000 jutsu and the son of the legendary White Fang. Doesn't sound impressive to me, mastering 1,000 jutsu with that pilfered eye of yours. It means that you are way below average because you didn't learn it with your body. So back down or be put down, you scarecrow-looking son of a bitch." As Naruto took his stance to face Konoha's most famous and dangerous ninja. Looking at Kakashi, Naruto realized that the copy ninja had a significant advantage in the fight because he had already engaged in combat with a legendary Sannin and a gifted Genin. He lacked the strength and chakra necessary to contend with a Kakashi level opponent. Naruto patiently awaited the talented Jonin's attack. Kakashi was aware that Naruto was a very dangerous person who had been trained by two Sannin. Naruto easily escaped after Kakashi hurled a couple of kunai at him, and he returned the favor by throwing his own kunai at him. Kakashi attempted to enter Naruto's mind by saying, "You know you can't defeat my Sharingan, just give up and maybe you won't get the death penalty. Funny they say that the Sharingan eye of yours can only copy what it sees. That it's the most powerful genjutsu eye technique the world has ever known, but what if it can't see everything?" Naruto slowly turns to face Kakashi. In order to defend himself against Naruto's lethal attack, Kakashi swiftly made a hand sign that caused him to encircle himself with rock and earth. Kakashi hardly had time to defend himself against his attack. All he saw was the final symbol of a hand gesture that Naruto executed so quickly that his Sharingan was unable to interpret it. It was only from experience that he summoned a counter defense. Naruto had attacked Kakashi from all sides using a combination of his wind element jutsu and the demon shuriken. "This kid is really good, my Sharingan may not be very effective against him. I barely even seen him make a hand sign. I'm going to have to kill him for the sake of the village," Kakashi thought to himself. In the interim, the third Hokage, who was standing beside Heishi Hyuga, was eventually reached by the Anbu. Heishi became furious as they informed them of Orochimaru's claim that Mikado was involved in the invasion and had abducted Hinata. Hieshi's rage of red demonstrated that he was serious about killing Mikado. "We have to help Kakashi bring down Mikado. How could I be so foolish and give him my precious daughter so willingly? He will die by my hands this day. I've hurt Hinata so much in the past and I'm still hurting her now. Calm down Heishi. Hinata is safe with Mikado. He's the one who informed us of the impending attack. He would rather die than to see Hinata hurt or cry. But we must hurry before Kakashi kills the lad, stated the third Hokage. Wait, he's a double agent. Just who is he anyway? He's not just some run-of-the-mill genin, is he? Sarutobi Sama. I have the right to know who he is, and did he use my daughter to a means for his mission to succeed? No, it's genuine, he's a genin. Well, actually he never got to be a genin. The lad is Naruto Uzumaki of the Leaf Village, the legacy of the fourth Hokage. As Heishi began preparing to pursue his daughter, he said, "It can't be, Naruto is dead. How is that possible? Tell me everything about this situation." Iruka asked the Hokage if what she had heard of the conversation was accurate, and that in order to assist in the recovery of Naruto and Hinata, he would follow them. When he sensed that odd chakra that healed Hinata, the third Hokage informed them of his suspicions. Then he used the Sarutobi sidestep that was on the scroll he stole. He must have memorized it by heart because he did not know he was using it subconsciously. I had someone watch him and they said he was eating more and more at the ramen restaurant. My Anbu asked the chef about Mikado and the chef said he ordered the same thing as Naruto used to. Then I seen him enter through my house the same way that Naruto came in as a kid. He believed that no one knew about it, but I did. I left it open for him just in case one day he returned. When I saw him in the house I thought it was an assassination attempt when he pulled out his kunai, as I stayed hidden to see the outcome. He left all of Orochimaru's plans hanging on the wall with the kunai, and then he left the same way he came in. Then I went to talk to him. He still had that sadness of not being liked and being misunderstood, but Hinata made him happy and he wasn't going to let her down. He went from a killer intent in his heart to it being completely filled with love. Your daughter is part of his destiny now, their fate is intertwined for the future. Hanabi informed her father where Hinata was to meet Mikado as she approached him, in order to prevent Naruto from leaving and to ensure that Kakashi wouldn't kill him. Heishi, the third Hokage, and Iruka set out for Hinata's destination. Both ninjas engaged in hand combat, and neither was able to gain the upper hand. Naruto was astounded by his opponent's skill. He was aware that Kakashi would eventually murder him. They had engaged in combat with various forms of taijutsu, ninjutsu, and genjutsu for approximately 6 minutes. Kakashi had a lot of thoughts, but he didn't consider the possibility that this boy was a Jinchuriki. What the hell is going on? I should have been able to hypnotize him the moment my Sharingan made eye contact with him. When I tried the first time, somehow it was broken by some unknown force. I only saw something like that happen when a teammate inserted chakra to another teammate to break a powerful genjutsu. Is he a successful lab experiment of Orochimaru? Given that Kakashi was winning this battle, Kurama said, "Cub, you're almost out of chakra. I suggest you run or take some of my chakra and finish him off." He was unwilling to die with Naruto. "No, he will only catch me if I try to run, plus I've seen enough death for today. But I have a plan that will allow me." Kakashi drew his kunai and glared at Naruto, saying, "Are you thinking that no one will miss your traitorous ass when you die? You little shit?" After glancing at Naruto, Kakashi concluded that using the mist jutsu to conceal his presence would be the most effective strategy for defeating him. Naruto, who had never seen that jutsu before, stood there waiting for Kakashi to move as the mist grew all around him. Naruto moved carefully through the fog as he drew his kunai. Kakashi came and hurled a kunai straight at Naruto's head as he forced him underground, leaving only his head exposed. A puff of smoke emerged as the kunai struck Naruto's head. To ensure he couldn't escape, Kakashi remained hidden. He swiftly threw another kunai in the hopes of hitting his target as soon as he heard another footstep. When Kakashi began to hear multiple footsteps, he realized that his opponent was proficient in the clone technique and made the decision to spread his method. Naruto looked around and yelled, "Let's end this, Kakashi. I know that you're running out of chakra just like me, so a winner takes all in this final confrontation." As Naruto waited patiently for Kakashi to emerge from hiding, his breathing became labored. Kakashi's voice seemed to come from everywhere as he said, "Yes, little boy, let's finish this. After I kill you I can go get Hinata and bring her back safely." After emerging from hiding, Kakashi appeared as though he was prepared to bury Naruto. This was a necessary kill. His eyes betrayed murder. Another Orochimaru was not permitted to exist in this new era for the benefit of the village. He molded Chidori in his hand and said, "Well kid, it's time for you to die. Any last words?" Gazing intently into Kakashi's eyes, Naruto half-smirked. As more than 1,000 shadow clones surrounded Kakashi, he was amazed that someone so young could have so much chakra to call forth so many clones. "I have a trump card too I've been working on," It takes a lot of chakra, but I hope you like it. Shadow clone overkill, he said. After letting his clones handle Kakashi, Naruto rushed to see how Hinata was doing. He swiftly took hold of her bridal style and sped away from Kakashi as far as he could. Hinata could run the remaining distance with Naruto to a new life for the two of them, as Naruto determined that this was sufficient distance. He tried gently to rouse Hinata as he sat her down. Hinata was still upset about the discovery of Naruto's true identity, so when she saw him as she was waking up, she slapped him across the face. As he retreated and prepared to respond to her blows, Jiraiya suddenly launched a precise taijutsu attack on Naruto. In order to get him away from Hinata, Naruto swiftly backflipped. Because Hinata was in such shock, she was unable to stop Jiraiya, so Naruto created two shadow clones to carry her to safety. The shadow clones grabbed Hinata tightly as they quickly ran away from the disciple and master battle after Hinata screamed for Jiraiya to stop. Naruto was unable to get his head into the fight as Jiraiya continued to beat him punch after punch. He was completely over his limit. In addition to being worn out from creating all those clones, his arms felt as though they could only support a pound or less. Jiraiya, stop, you don't understand, don't make me fight you, replied Naruto. You're part of Orochimaru cohorts. Your faction attacked the Leaf and I seen Kakashi battling the clones that look like you. He's resting after I helped him destroy your shadow clones. He told me everything. I believed in you that you were the one to make a change, but I must rectify my mistake. Naruto didn't want to use the fox's power on Jiraiya. His chakras were low, and he was barely able to stand. Jiraiya was determined to destroy Naruto for attacking the village, and he was unable to strike his sensei as Naruto held his ground against him. Jiraiya hesitated to deliver a fatal blow to his pupil as he kicked Naruto back to the ground. I can't fight anymore, and even if I could, I wouldn't fight you, pervy sage. Naruto got up one last time, knowing that it was over no matter what, but he was leaving like a proud shinobi, fighting to the end. You know you're way better than Orochimaru ever was. I guess if I met you maybe I would have been a better ninja. Jiraiya was astounded by the children's perseverance. Hinata destroyed the two shadow clones with her soft fist as she activated her Byakugan. She hurried back to the scene of Jiraiya and Naruto's fight in the hopes that it would be resolved peacefully. After finally catching his breath, Kakashi also ran in the direction of Jiraiya's location. The third began to have unfavorable thoughts about what lay ahead as he sped toward Naruto. When Kakashi got close to Jiraiya, he noticed that Jiraiya was hesitant to kill the traitor who had attacked the village and that Naruto was still standing. As he charged at full speed toward his victim, Kakashi executed his Chidori to instantly kill Naruto. Hinata noticed him and hurried to protect Naruto from Kakashi's Chidori. When Naruto noticed Kakashi approaching, Hinata leapt in front of him, her arms outstretched, to halt the assault. Kakashi's hand pierced Naruto's chest as blood splattered all over, landing on Hinata's face and clothing as Naruto hurriedly leapt in front of her to shield her from the Chidori. Coughing up blood, he grasped Kakashi's hand for support, preventing the Chidori from hurting Hinata by penetrating all the way through. When Hinata let out a horrified scream, Naruto collapsed and gazed at her while covered in blood. I am sorry, Hinata, as he spit up a large amount of blood. I wanted to protect you but I failed. I didn't want to see you cry. You keep chasing Naruto saying he made you strong. It's the opposite, you made me strong. All the hatred that I had disappeared when I met you. I wanted to tell you but I didn't have your strength. I wished I would have stayed in the village. Even with the villagers' hatred I could have still been happy knowing someone in this entire world, someone cared for Naruto Uzumaki. He said. Let me look at you with my own face and true eyes. I should have been chasing you. You're the real strong one, Naruto said with a smile as his hair turned back to blonde and his whiskers returned. Jiraiya was taken aback by the young man's true identity. This kid is Naruto Uzumaki? The legacy of the fourth Hokage. He laughed and fell silent, saying, Pervy sage, you were right. It's better to be a good man than a great ninja. I wished that I had you in my life as a child. I probably would have been great just like you, except being a pervert. When Iruka, Heishi, and the third Hokage arrived on the scene, they saw Hinata sobbing while kneeling over a young, blonde man. Knowing that he had let Naruto down once more caused the third Hokage to feel a searing pain in his heart. He isn't going to make it. He needs help now, Hinata said, placing her ear to his heart, which was very faint. Jiraiya and the third Hokage both knelt down in front of their students and started tending to Naruto's wounds. Jiraiya, you once stated that you were told that you would train someone who would either save the world or end it. This boy demonstrated today that he is capable of great things, including saving people. He is the legacy of the fourth Hokage. And he must succeed because he has endured too much for it to end this way. You want to save this dangerous boy? Kakashi asked. You heard your prophecy. This boy could also mean the total destruction for the entire world. He's already close to my level and he will only get stronger as he gets older. He is the true legacy of the 4th Hokage and you know he was almost unstoppable. This kid can rule with an iron hand before he's 20. I can't explain it, but he saved this girl with not a thought for himself. He chose death than to see her hurt. Do you think that's evil? Naruto suffered at the hands of the village, true, but he could have easily run away from this village and not help, but he didn't. He saved the village from the sound and the sand by giving us their plans. I couldn't help his father or mother, but I can help their child. He's like my grandson, replied the 3rd Hokage. He held back on both of us. Kakashi. He formed over 1,000 clones, but not one came close to killing you, and he refused to fight me. If he was really trying to kill you, he would have tried harder, and if he really wanted the leaf destroyed, he would not betrayed Orochimaru to help save his true comrades, stated Jiraiya. He was trained by Orochimaru. Look at how skilled he is. He has his taint for destruction. Orochimaru is a Sannin just like you. He took this kid to the next 3 levels in a year's time. Do you think that he is able to come back to Konohagakure being a mere Genin or Chunin? He's closer to a Jonin abilities when you think about it. True, his father was my sensei, but I have to think of the village safety. For the benefit of the village. Kakashi was begging them to simply let the boy die. Call the med ninjas. Only the 6 of us are aware of Naruto's return to Konohagakure. We owe him for saving the village and for the cruelty the villagers inflicted on him. We will fabricate documents and declare that Naruto was trained by you, Jiraiya. As you stated, he is extremely strong and skilled. He is the 4th legacy and must be told the whole truth. We will not withhold it from him any longer. Naruto, who had been in the boiler room staring at the Kyuubi, came to the cage grinning as if a weight had been taken off his shoulders. I'm going to release you, but you can't attack the leaf. I'm sorry, I let you down, and I'll be dead in a few minutes. To confirm that I am using the remaining portion of my chakra to bind you to a verbal agreement. Additionally, my chakra will protect you from future Sharingan control. I appreciate your assistance in keeping me alive. You cannot hurt the leaf shinobi outside of my body once you are free. As the Kyuubi was prepared for release, I said, Goodbye young cub, no goodbye Naruto. Let the spirit world welcome you with open arms. You are the 2nd human I ever had respect for. The cage's seal was ripped and ready to be removed when Naruto reached for it. His wrist was suddenly grabbed by 2 hands, and the 3 of them vanished from the Kyuubi cell. Naruto stood there in shock, asking, Who are you 2? How did you get into the home of the Kyuubi? The blonde young man gazed lovingly at Naruto and said, You have my features and definitely your mother's attitude, so you can't tell who your parents are. My parents? How is this possible? You're here trapped with the Kyuubi? How come you're just revealing yourselves now after all these years? Naruto was constantly asking questions. Shut up and let us help you. Listen up carefully. First off, we love you. You're dying and all answers will be revealed to you if you shut the hell up, his mother said, rushing directly toward him and slapping him over the head as she rolled up her sleeves to ensure he didn't say anything more. Even from Orochimaru, Naruto had never experienced such fear. We inserted the Kyuubi inside of you to help save the village. You were to look at as being a hero of the village. We are so sorry and so ashamed of what we did to you and what you went through, but I believe that you of all people will be able to defeat an ancient evil. We don't his name, but we believe he is a Uchiha. He was the one controlling the Kyuubi nearly 15 years ago. I tried my best to kill this unknown Uchiha, but he was truly an amazing ninja with unknown powers. He is the reason your mother passed and why I had to insert the Kyuubi into you, so you can fight him on his level. Naruto, the only reason we were able to contact you now is all of your hatred, envy and fear is finally gone. When you made a verbal contract with Kyuubi granting you his power, it was like a summoning contract and the 2 of you became one. The thing with that is he got some of your emotions as well. He doesn't know it, but that is why he saved Hinata. Eventually you will have to find a better way on using his power. Although you're both in sync now, eventually it will fade, as Naruto's father looked at him with pride. Naruto, please keep the village and Hinata safe. I can tell she is important to you. However, please be forgiving of those who don't understand your true feelings. Let forgiveness be a ray of hope. I've done too many bad things to be that hopeful. Better yet, I will forge my own path and create my own destiny. Furthermore, my destiny has been fulfilled because I may not have more than 2 minutes left to live. You have the power to change Naruto. Hinata transformed your heart, and you gradually began to notice the difference. As her hand began to turn transparent, Kushina said, It seems like we're out of time. I wish that I had more time to help you, but like you said, you make your own destiny. Kushina began to cry over her inability to help her son. You began to love, and with that you began to get your humanity back. Naruto pleaded with his parents, saying, "Wait, you never told me your names. I waited all my life to meet you, just tell me your names." She grinned at her son and said, "My name is Kushina Uzumaki. I am Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage. Ask Jiraiya or Kakashi if you want to learn more about us." They both came and gave their son hugs. I have been despised and treated like a disease by people my entire life. I made an effort to gain their respect by working hard and having a loving human heart. I became like the people who hated me because I allowed my anger to twist me. I was shown so much more by a shy little ninja with the most beautiful eyes. She showed me what was already there. Love. I can hear my heartbeat slowing down and my body growing cold, so I won't make it. As Naruto started to cry, something he hadn't done since leaving the village, he said, "My biggest regret is that I can't kiss or tell the woman I love to be happy and thank her for pulling me out of this darkness. My injuries were too severe. Normally the Kyuubi would heal me, but a human body can only take so much." Both parents touched Naruto's shoulder before reappearing in the cage next to the Kyuubi and touching the nine-tailed fox. Naruto was flooded with the combination of his parents and Kyuubi's chakras. Inside the Kyuubi's prison, Minato and Kushina's bodies began to radiate a bright light. "We used some of the Kyuubi's chakra to help heal you, and we borrowed a little for ourselves. When the time comes again, we will be there in your time of need just as we are now." As both of his parents began to wane, his father grinned at him and said, "Naruto, protect your loved ones. Being a good man is the secret to being a great ninja." His mother winked at him, telling him that his future depends on how well he does. "We love you, son, and be a great husband to Hinata. We believe in you," she said. Then there was only darkness, silence, and a sense of peace that made surrendering seem like the right thing to do. Naruto had never felt so at peace. Letting go and seeing where this new journey would lead him was the right thing to do. "I've been waiting for this. I know they want to help me, but I don't want their assistance. Death's tender, icy embrace to bring me peace at last. Lord Danzo, take a look at this." Fu picked up a severed arm that was white as snow and pale skinned. "This area looks like a war zone, but I only see 2 distinct sets of footprints. There was a great battle that took place here recently." Danzo took Fu's disfigured arm and gave it a close inspection. "I recognize this tattoo. It's on Orochimaru's arm. It features the Konoha design, but it appears to have been completely decomposed. I would also say that it is from Jiraiya's Rasengan because of the way it is torn apart, but the damage it has sustained suggests that it has been cellularly destroyed, and that pervert Jiraiya's Rasengan is unable to cause such harm." Danzo threw Orochimaru's arm into a bag, saying, "I believe another unidentified player is involved, and a very strong one at that. I've heard that Mikado Tae Shin is his apprentice, but only 2 people are capable of performing the Rasengan, and one of them is deceased. Perhaps he taught him how to use the Rasengan. Surely, though, that young boy couldn't have learned the 4th signature move so quickly. Even if this Mikado had been trained by a legendary Sannin, Torun knew it was unthinkable because even prodigies can't easily learn that technique and modify it to do this kind of damage. We'll send some men back to investigate the area, so don't be so sure about that. For the time being, we proceed to the Hokage's location to ensure his safety." In the dark of the Kyuubi's cell, Naruto inhaled deeply. "I wonder where that bright light is that people keep talking about when you're supposed to die." Hinata's cries reverberated through the shadows. "Naruto, Mikado, you lied to me. You betrayed me. You never loved me. I was just your cover so you could destroy my village. I'll never love anyone again. You did this to me." Hinata's voice made Naruto think he was in hell. "That's Hinata's voice. No, Hinata, I didn't betray you. I loved you. No, I still love you with all my heart. Don't believe that. It's not true. Hinata, I love you. Please never think that," Naruto told him. "He tricked me into falling in love." Naruto fell to his knees and shouted into the deep darkness. "No, no, Hinata, can you hear me? It's not true. Please listen to me. Can you hear me?" "She can't hear you, cub. You chose death, remember. I feel for your one true mate. She'll never know that you truly loved her. I wonder how her spinsterhood will be like. Her surrounded by what, 6, 7 cats maybe?" Kurama cracked a joke. Kurama's voice boomed everywhere, despite the total darkness. Naruto started to feel anxious. "She must know I love her, right?" he asked himself. Knowing that Hinata would be upset over something he had done, he couldn't leave this world. "It doesn't sound that way to me. Instead, she seems heartbroken by your brief admission that she is Naruto Uzumaki." The last thing he wanted to do was to reveal Naruto's fate, so he started using some of his wisdom to persuade him to reconsider dying. Oh well, she'll just have to be brokenhearted and distrustful of men for the rest of her life. I can't turn back. I can't tell her, face to face, that I wanted to destroy the village she loves. I don't want her to hate me. I don't want that. You hear? At the top of his lungs, Naruto let out a scream. After that, she will believe you are nothing more than a liar and a woman's heartbreaker. Kurama attempted to control Naruto's feelings for Hinata by portraying him as a Casanova who would use a woman's love to exact his retribution. A golden orb appeared in front of Naruto as he stood up, swirling like his Rasengan, after he had sat on the ground, pulled his legs up to his chest, and tried to weigh the pros and cons of going back to the land of the living. It will return you to your one true love if you touch it, cub. However, it will take some time for the orb and my power to heal you after you do this. His fate was about to change again. Would she forgive him? Will the Konohagakure execute him? Would he even live long enough to tell Hinata the truth about how he felt? Naruto grasped the orb, and his body swirled inside as it went from dark to light. He could feel his body in serious pain, and he had to struggle just to open his eyes as he felt a burning sensation in his chest. As one of his eyes cracked open, he saw Hinata leaning over him crying, and he saw how puffy and red her eyes were. The words, "Hinata, I love you," caused Naruto to spit up a lot of blood from his mouth. "I heard your fears and none of them are true on how I feel for you, Naruto passed out again from his wounds before he could finish his sentence. Looking down at the teenagers, Jiraiya and the third Hokage saw that Naruto's wounds were beginning to heal. They knew that this was due to the nine-tailed fox's power, as the boy's abilities and control over its tenant were nothing short of miraculous. He was, in fact, the son of the fourth Hokage, and everyone thought that he was able to use the nine-tail's power so effortlessly. This boy is far too dangerous to be allowed to live, so we must kill him. It would only take a few years for this boy to undo his evil toward Konoha. I propose that we hold a vote to determine whether he survives. We must consider Konoha's future because he harbors a deep-seated animosity toward the village and is prepared to side with Orochimaru, who has no idea what plans he may have for it. Kakashi gave the blonde on the ground a menacing look. Kakashi, are you crazy? This boy has a name, and it's Naruto. Jiraiya got to his feet and turned to face Kakashi. Do you not feel sorry for the child of Kushina and your sensei? The fact that he ultimately decided not to betray the village must be significant. How do I phrase this? Naruto. I witnessed him thrust a kunai into a young girl's chest and back without feeling guilty, demonstrating how he has changed from that young boy who yearned to fit in. The Naruto of the past is long gone, and this one is tainted with hateful dark shadows. I want to help him, but is it really possible for him to recover from such disgust? With blood streaming from his mouth, the third Hokage gazed down at the blonde. I didn't tell anyone who he was because I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to give him another chance at happiness, but I saw firsthand how cruel he was. Sensei. His father wanted him to be viewed as a hero, and this boy is a part of the village. This boy is the result of the ignorance and prejudice of the villagers. It is our responsibility to grant Minato her final wish. The third Hokage infuriated Jiraiya. Sarutobi inhaled deeply. He knew in his heart that Jiraiya was correct. 3 more shinobi charged at top speed toward the 5 ninjas encircling Naruto, but they halted in front of the Hokage, and a man with blonde hair named Fu Yamanaka bent down to examine the teenager on the ground. This boy asked, "Who the hell is he?" asked Torun. "It's the Kyuubi brat, Naruto Uzumaki, who has those whisker marks on his face," said Danzo. "What's happening? Is Naruto involved in the invasion? The boy bears the marks of Kakashi's Chidori wound. Sarutobi, what's going on here?" The third was aware of Danzo's evil actions and knew that he could not allow his former teammate to use or even kill Naruto. He needed to move fast and hope that everyone, especially Kakashi, would follow his example. About 7 months ago, I contacted Naruto, who informed me of Orochimaru's intentions. In order to learn about all of his plans, I sent him undercover as Mikado Tae Shin. You sent a dead last child on an important mission like that? Sarutobi, you have become senile in your old age. Fu, if he can be moved, grab him. Take him to our compound. Torun, go get some of our medical shinobi. Tell them to be prepared for a seriously injured ninja. Danzo thought to himself. Finally, a perfect weapon unlike that traitor Yamato or that weak Uchiha Sasuke. This boy has the darkness in him and it's more beautiful than anything I've seen in any shinobi. I was impressed by that Mikado and come to find out it's our very own Jinchuriki. Kami really smiled down upon me this day. Danzo couldn't believe his eyes. The ideal weapon was his to be taken. Jiraiya shoved Fu away from Naruto, saying, "Don't even consider touching him. He's part of the Hokage's shinobi, not roots. He survived for well over 2 years on his own. Tell me what genin in our village can do what he did. Nonsense. This boy is way too talented to work in the light or be some rank shinobi. He belongs in the darkness. If he was able to fool Orochimaru, then we need someone of his skills. I can train this boy to become an asset to the village. Danzo's ire started to rise. He was fed up with the Hokage, clan heads, and the civilian council making things difficult for him. Jiraiya stood resolute and strong as he gazed at the Warhawk. Naruto is my apprentice Danzo, so hands off. I will train this boy just as I trained his father. Believe me when I say that he will never be part of Root. I think it will be his decision, not yours. I look forward to this tale on how the Uzumaki boy became so powerful in a matter of over 2 years. Anyway, Fu and Torun found part of Orochimaru's arm and some blood from the traitor. Did you do this, Jiraiya? It looks as though your signature jutsu was applied, but with more of a deadly effect than I remember. Danzo began to leave the area. The third Hokage inquired, Orochimaru's arm is missing? Is he dead? Danzo grinned as he left, beginning to piece together some of the puzzle. Indeed, Naruto is more complex than he first appears to be, and Jiraiya and the Hokage were concealing a very important secret. He understood that secrets always manage to come to light somehow. After giving Naruto a quick glance, Hinata started talking. I heard the explosion when Naruto did that to Orochimaru, and a few minutes later, he came looking for me, exhausted and bruised. It appeared that he was up against a formidable foe, but I remained silent in the hopes that he would tell me the truth. Naruto killed Orochimaru. That's impossible. This demonstrates my point even more. A greater evil killed a lesser one. Kill him now or we'll be threatened with a greater threat later. Kakashi made repeated attempts to make his point. After 10 minutes of arguing over the boy's fate, the Hokage finally had the last say, vowing to keep Naruto's identity a secret until Anko and Ibiki deem him a safe liability to be around the citizens of Konoha. Jiraiya summoned a toad and placed Naruto on his back, and the toad sage took off with his godson in the direction of the hospital. All of the Jonins, Chunins, and the Hokage squabbled as Hinata held onto Naruto's hand, furious but determined not to allow them to kill him. A bug that had flown off Naruto's chest and into the forest landed on the tip of the bug handler's finger and danced to tell its handler what it had learned. Your suspicion was correct, Lord Danzo. Naruto engaged Orochimaru in combat. To believe that this boy could kill Orochimaru or injure him in this manner. The village's Jonins could never provide the kind of service this boy in Root can. What is the strategy for recruiting this Jinchuriki to join our small group? Torun got to his feet and awaited Danzo's response. Patience. He really wants something that we have, and he will gladly give us anything we desire in order to get it. It took him leaving the village to fully embrace the darkness in his heart, but now we'll be able to use him for what he was born to be, a weapon of mass destruction. Danzo laughed a little as he and his bodyguard left for Konoha. It had been 5 days. When Naruto awoke to the sound of a machine beeping, he rapidly attempted to get out of bed but discovered that both of his hands were handcuffed, and as he looked up, he noticed a chubby nurse searching a drawer for supplies. What day is it? Where am I? Hey, can you hear me? As Naruto fought to get out of bed, he asked. Well, the beast has finally come to life. You killed my aunt and cousin 15 years ago. I could easily insert this needle into your arm, and nobody would hold me accountable for your death. If the Hokage tried to punish me, the entire village would defend me, so I'll be a hero. The heavy dot-set nurse approached Naruto slowly with the needle, but she stopped abruptly when she noticed that Naruto was grinning and holding the handcuffs in his hand. I can now defend myself. The days of abuse and murderous attempts are long gone. Naruto laughed fatally at the nurse, whose face turned as white as snow. Many nurses and on-duty shinobis ran to the room after hearing a loud scream, and as they got closer, they saw the third Hokage going inside with Kakashi and Jiraiya. The three of them hurried in to discover a body on the bed that was fully covered. Kakashi took off the blanket while wielding his kunai, and the nurse was handcuffed to the bed with a needle protruding from her neck. Mrs. I'm pretty sure that you want me interrogated by Ibiki Morino. Naruto sat in the chair with his hands on top of his head in a surrendered position. Fatty.want.to.be. Killer is still alive. What's in that needle is probably poison made especially for me. Naruto slowly got to his feet as Kakashi placed him in handcuffs. Arrest her for attempted murder after the third Hokage carefully inspected the syringe and its contents. You're in the prison hospital ward, Naruto. You're correct. Ibiki, Anko, and Inoichi want to know everything there is to know about Orochimaru and to determine whether or not you can be trusted to be released in the village. Naruto merely gave a head nod. We kept your employment with Orochimaru a secret from everyone, but if you don't pass this interrogation, you will be exposed as a traitor. Are you familiar with Naruto? The white-haired pervert gave Naruto a pat on the back as they headed to the interrogation room. So be completely honest, we have a cover story for you, but if you fail then, Jiraiya paused and took a deep breath. We must think of the village safety first and do what must be done no matter how painful it is. As he walked down the lengthy hallway to the room where many shinobi from every country feared the Konoha Special Interrogation Unit, Naruto's heart raced with each step. 3 ninjas were waiting for him to sit down, and they swiftly strapped the young blonde tightly in restraints while they waited for the Hokage to say, "Begin." Now, Naruto, you will respond to all of the inquiries regarding Orochimaru, and I mean all of them. You can tell us what brand of toilet paper he uses and whether he wipes his ass up and down or from right to left if we ask him how he does it. You get it? Ibiki awaited the blonde's response. Inoichi came and put his hand on Naruto's head to see what he knew, but then he screamed and fell to the ground as he tried to get away from him. Ibiki and Enko asked him what was wrong as they attempted to help him up. Jiraiya, Kakashi, and the third Hokage left the room and entered a room with a 2-way mirror to watch their specialists start questioning. I apologize. Kurama is a very private individual. After pausing for a moment to glance at Inoichi, Naruto said, I think you might want to stay out of my head. Kurama just told me that the last Yamanaka who tried that silly little mind jutsu literally destroyed their mind to shreds. Whatever he did, I had no part in it. A Yamanaka Daisuke. Inoichi knew Naruto was telling the truth when he looked at him. Daisuke attempted to change his mind with the Kyuubi, but the beast was too old, and his cousin was never going to make it. The last he heard of his cousin was that he was committed to an asylum and that all he could do was mutter one word repeatedly before he passed away. Kyuubi. Ibiki, it appears that my abilities are useless against Naruto, so I suggest you and Enko take over. I suggest that we question him about Orochimaru's plans and hiding places. How did Orochimaru take over the Sound Village, and where are his hiding places? Enko awaited Naruto's responses. I have only visited one of his hiding places, which was in Getshugakure. After that, we went back to Tono Sadota no Kuni. Prior to Orochimaru's conquest, Sadota no Kuni was known as the land of rice fields. The daimyo gave Orochimaru his own ninja village because he was afraid for his life. How were you able to bypass security? Who is assisting you? For what purpose has he been serving the other villages? Ibiki took a seat and gave Naruto a direct look. I only know that Orochimaru has a lot of sleeper agents in every ninja village and a lot of secret hideouts that he may use no more than twice a year. I got into the village that way, and he uses his experiments on certain bloodline shinobi or people who have a rare advanced genetic chakra marker to help other ninja villages. Orochimaru doesn't always need to use any of his hideouts because many clan leaders invite him to advance their village and clan to new heights. If he can do what he says, many will deal with the Sannin. All 3 Jonins listened to Naruto as he told them about Orochimaru's plans and his future plans, answering each question honestly, and after an hour of interrogation, it was finally over. Enko laughed a little and said, so you left Orochimaru and sold him out and now you want to come back home. Orochimaru wanted me by his side, so at least he didn't desert me. How about you? As Naruto said that, Enko's face lit up with rage. What do you know about my situation? How did Orochimaru affect me? You blonde little shit, respond to me. With the intention of killing, she snatched up her kunai and placed it against Naruto's throat. Ibiki shook his head and grabbed her wrist. He has some knowledge. I learned what Orochimaru had done to me and why I couldn't recall. Naruto smiled crookedly. All I know is that he told me that you weren't deserving of the gifts he gave you. He turned traitor for the woman he fell in love with. Hinata Hyuga for him, that's all that matters, and the snake bitch wasn't worth his time. I believe the curse seal was a farewell gift from him to thank you for being a good little guinea pig. Naruto began to show his haughtiness, believing that even though he was their prisoner, they would never take his pride away from him or break him. Hishi, Kakashi, Jiraiya, and the third Hokage looked behind the 2-way mirror and saw that all 3 interrogation specialists nodded that he was telling the truth. They unanimously decided that Naruto was dangerous in every way, but that he seemed sincere about wanting to protect Hinata. After much discussion, the third Hokage came up with a plan, and they all agreed on the terms. Now, Naruto had to agree or they would be back to square one. As they walked back into the room, the Hokage reminded everyone that this information involving Naruto would be an S-class secret carrying the penalty of treason. We can see that you want to change and return to Konoha as a resident, Naruto, but these are the guidelines. You will abide by all laws and not hurt any Konoha residents or shinobi. If you are not with a Jiraiya or Jonin, you will not be allowed to leave the village. Every month, regardless of how minor you may consider the situation, you will update me on your progress. You will adhere to the cover that we have given you and refrain from disclosing any additional information. You will be imprisoned for the rest of your life if you disregard these guidelines. Do I express myself clearly? The third Hokage stooped to take Naruto's wrist restraints off the chair. In other words, we'll get along just fine if you're a good little ninja. I've got requests of my own. I want my father's and mother's estate, and I want to be known as Naruto Namikaze. Unaware that my parents were my relatives, Hinata brought me to their house. I would like to get the money that they left me as an inheritance or as some back pay, as I am aware of it. Regarding me hurting anyone in this village, I will abide by your rules, but if someone tries to hurt me the way they did me as a kid, I will defend myself no matter what. We have a deal if these changes to your regulations are acceptable. Naruto extended his hand to the third Hokage. Naruto shook hands with the third Hokage, but Kakashi thought they were making a deal with the devil because Naruto was too erratic and unreliable. Can I therefore request to return to the academy and become a genin? The only skill I know is how to live like a ninja. The third Hokage burst out laughing. Every daimyo, noble, and kage unanimously nominated you as a chunin after your performance in the chunin exam. Even though you will hold that rank, I will temporarily place you under Kakashi's command, and he will train you. You will be with Jiraiya and obey his commands when he is too busy. You can come and pick up the keys to your parents' estate in an hour since you are currently free. Naruto stopped Heishi as all of the Jonin left, saying, "The place has been taken care of and you can move right on in. I must know how Hinata is doing, Lord Heishi. Could I see her?" Deeply, Naruto gazed into Hiashi's eyes. "She's okay, but please don't approach her ever again. You put my daughter in danger, misled her, and took advantage of her. I can shield her from the man who hurt her feelings, even if I don't win Father of the Year. Please Heishi, just let me explain to her that I didn't use her. Everything I felt for Hinata was real. Hell, I even tried to kill Orochimaru so I could be with her." Naruto blocked Hiashi's exit. Heishi was aware that Naruto had fought Orochimaru, but he wondered how long it would take your former master to exact his revenge. And how long do you think it will take for your former master to have his revenge? To hurt you, he might set his sight on Hinata. Did you think of that? She asked. Give her time, and if she tells you it's over, will you let her live her life in peace? After hearing those words, Naruto paused, but he shook his head in agreement, indicating that he would follow her choice. Lord Danzo, we ran some tests on why Orochimaru's arm is decaying at such a fast rate. Whatever that jutsu that Naruto used destroys everything on a cellular level: bone, flesh, hair, teeth. We believe that Orochimaru is slowly dying from that jutsu. It's gradually destroying him from the inside out, and within a 6 months' time he'll definitely be dead. Should we tell the Hokage this information? Said the root medical examiner. Danzo shook his head no after reading the report. As the root leader took the clinical report on Orochimaru, the root medical ninja stood next to him. If we had the Fox Kid in root, then he could be our ace in the hole. We could send him out to do black mission files. The Leaf can finally have someone who can fight S-rank criminals and ninjas that can get the job done right. His talents are waste working for the Hokage. He belongs in root. For the first time, Danzo grinned honestly at the result and gave a little laugh. I completely agree with you. I think it's time we introduce ourselves to the fort's little offspring. Go get the welcoming committee so we can give our young Jinchuriki a warm-hearted welcome back home. After 3 days, the third Hokage delivered on his promise to give Naruto his inheritance and to reveal his ancestry the following week. For Naruto, Hinata's absence seemed to have no bearing on anything. In fact, he started stalking the Hyuga compound in the hopes of catching a glimpse of her. To no avail, though, it seemed as though she had vanished from the village. Naruto struggled every hour and wished he could hear her voice. He loved nothing more than to see her smile, but now he was denied it. Sasuke and Sakura were shocked to learn that Naruto was more powerful than any member of their graduating class and that he had assisted them in the Forest of Death. Sakura recalled how Naruto used to have a thing for her, but she couldn't comprehend why he now treated her so distantly and coldly. Since they hadn't seen Hinata in more than a week, Sakura and Ino were considering visiting her. Naruto kept practicing, but he always felt like he was being watched, which was hilarious. He constantly looked around for unfavorable feelings, but he never found any. He believed that he was anticipating an attack from the villagers because he was paranoid and had returned when Naruto Uzumaki met him. No one had attempted to harm him or even called him a demon in the 10 days that had passed. That increased his level of anxiety about the circumstance. After training, Naruto went to eat and get some rest so he could get ready for the following day. Something didn't feel quite right in the room, so Naruto woke up from his sleep in bed. 4 powerful men grabbed his arms as he sat up, and the 5th one shoved a rag into his mouth. They swiftly raised him and pushed him to his knees, where he saw a man sitting in his chair at the foot of the bed, covered in bandages. Naruto questioned why he was unable to detect any of the unpleasant feelings the men were causing in the room. "I'm Danzo, the leader of Root, and my name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm here to introduce you, earn your friendship, and welcome you back home, where you belong. In case you're wondering how we got into this room without you knowing, let me just say that I am aware of all the powers that the demon inside of you bestows. These men are emotionless and ideal for our brief conversation." Naruto simply turned to face Danzo, his eyes filled with rage. "Your skills far surpass those of the Uchiha prodigy, and I want you to become a part of our small family. I apologize. We need your power to improve the quality of life in my village. You are the era's most formidable, astute, and perilous shinobi. I knew that if you ever embraced the darkness, you would become more powerful than any Jonin could ever be, much like a baby sucking on a mother's tit to survive. Tell me, Naruto, what I can do to help you enjoy the transition to Root." One of the ninjas took the rag from Naruto's mouth as he glanced at him and his followers. "Orochimaru told me everything about you, Danzo, so I am aware of you. I have no doubt that you are just as cruel as he is, if not more so. I had the impression of megalomaniacal, power, hungry monomaniacs. I don't want to be friendly with Orochimaru's best friend, and it always ends badly for you. I want a knife in the back, that's all. I wouldn't worry about him because he will die before the fall season is over if you use that jutsu on him. Tell me, Naruto, exactly what method you employed on the snake bastard, because whatever you did to him is slowly killing him." Danzo continued to sit in the chair and gaze intently at the blonde teenager. While being restrained on his knees in front of his captor, Naruto remained silent. "The silent and powerful kind, huh? From that obnoxious youngster who was constantly yelling about becoming Hokage, you have come a long way. We see that the Hyuga girl has become your obsession, so perhaps I can help you out. I'm here to make a small deal with you. The girl is yours if you join Root. If you don't, I'll make sure she's engaged to the most repulsive man in the village. She will be sleeping with a fat, overweight man who has a thinning hairline and missing yellow teeth every night, so trust me when I say I can fulfill that promise. I'll give you a week to think about your future without interruption, but I want you to come to us on your own. I therefore wish you a good night until then. Uzumaki-san." Danzo and his men vanished, and Naruto collapsed to the ground, his hands protecting his face from impact. Looking around, Naruto saw that all of the Root operatives vanished simultaneously and without a trace, which he knew was impossible. When he noticed that the clock had jumped 3 minutes ahead, he instantly assumed genjutsu, but he could have easily broken that with his large chakra reserves. "I don't know how, but that man has the Sharingan, a strong dojutsu that kept attempting to hypnotize you. The only reason it didn't work out was because of me, but that final jutsu he employed was amazing. We don't want to confront this man unless we have a solid plan." Kurama was aware of this unidentified Sharingan user's strength. How was the Sharingan obtained by him? The fact that the old dried-up monkey had such power was never mentioned by Orochimaru. "You're positive it's a Sharingan?" Kurama was shocked to learn that another Sharingan user was in Konohagakure and said, "Most definitely, I know of the Sharingan very well." The blonde Jinchuriki would not be sleeping easily tonight, so he quickly created some shadow clones and instructed them to guard his house. Naruto had been barely awake for 2 weeks, and already enemies were lining up at his door. He knew it would be difficult to return to Konohagakure, but to be confronted already was unbelievable. "I attempted to sway him with Shisui's gaze, but he managed to defy my orders in some way." Danzo was the happiest man in Konohagakure because of Naruto Uzumaki, and his men heard him laugh with delight for the second time. "This boy is truly unique. I can't wait to see how he will grow as he become older." When Ibiki entered and saw Tayuya handcuffed in the hospital bed, he gazed down at his prisoner with a gloomy expression that made her shudder in terror. "We now want to know everything there is to know about Orochimaru because you are our prisoner." Naruto was apprehended, and we wish to verify that his statements were accurate. "If you tell the truth, we will postpone the death penalty. If not, you will suffer the consequences of a katana." She spoke quickly and meaningfully when she said, "Let me speak to Hinata Hyuga and I'll tell you everything." "What makes you want to talk to the heiress from Hyuga? What could you possibly discuss with her?" Ibiki expressed his disapproval of her small games by applying pressure to her chest wound, indicating that he meant business. "I don't have time for your games. We can do this the easy way or the painful way." Despite the agony, Tayuya endured the torture to make her point. All I need is 5 minutes to speak with Hinata. Don't you think it's worth it, dipshit, to have access to all of Orochimaru's secrets? As Tayuya recovered from Ibiki's torture, she lay in bed, breathing heavily with the help of a machine. As he left Tayuya's room, Ibiki wondered how Heishi would react to his daughter speaking to Orochimaru's cohort who attempted to destroy the village. He knew that she would not readily divulge information and that she only wanted to speak to Hinata, so he decided to be lenient and let her speak to the Hinata. Things were never easy in the interrogation and torture department, and he was already mentally imagining what Heishi would say. Naruto, you took away everything that had anything to do with me. Allow me to return the favor you showed me. Hinata will kill you herself once I've finished telling her everything about the kind of person you are. You killed my entire team and stole my dream of working for Master Orochimaru. I promise you will pay for your actions. I'll begin by removing your life's love. Yes. Retaliation is best served cold. Tayuya bit her lip in rage as blood began to run down her chin.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.